Welcome to you all who are coming in early. We will get started at 6 o'clock. Hello, Gwen.
Hello, dear friend.
Hello. I know you're aware.
Yeah, thank you for sending that. Really appreciate it.
Oh, yeah, no question. I wouldn't dare not send it. You know that. We got too much history there. Too much history there. So we'll get started. I'm opening it up so folks come in and be comfortable. But I'm going to kind of visualize. I'm going to go out for a little while and I'll come back in and then give folks a chance to come in and we'll get started. Okay, good. Good to see you, Dr. Sanders. It's been a long time. Welcome.
We went with Louisiana.
It's Dr. Wilcox, Debbie. Wilcox, it's great to see you and hear your voice.
Thank you. Thank you.
There's somebody else, Hey, Danny, it's Gwen. Hi.
Hi, Gwen. Good to hear your voice. Good to see you.
Thank you.
I will be right back and I'll open it up for informal conversations before we get started. I just have to do a couple things and I'll open it up so we can talk to each other. Be right back.
Mhm.
Okay.
Where does anyone's specialist come from? Oscar Hammerstein told us, you've got to be carefully taught. Archie and Mike were struck one night in the storeroom at Archie's bar.
Make sure you mute yourself.
They had been drinking.
Okay.
The way people were school.
Thank you. We're going to get started at 6 o'clock. I'm going to open it up for about another 5 or 6 minutes and then we'll chat and then other folks will be coming in. I'll be letting folks in. Welcome. So who do we have on the iPad 10?
Chris and Bunda.
Okay, and you're here for Dr. Stewart's celebration?
Yes,
Okay, where are you? Where are you from?
Savannah.
Oh, excellent, excellent. Okay, we're going to get started soon.
All right.
Welcome, Joseph and Danny. Welcome.
Yes,
Hi.
it's good to be here. Thank you.
Yes, it's been a lot of years.
Oh, it really has. It really
Yes, absolutely.
Hey, how are y'all doing tonight?
Just fine. How you doing?
Doing good, doing good. So I had to put he didn't so my husband didn't have Zoom on his phone, so I just put it on as a backup. I'm hoping to try to see if I can use our big computers, our big screens, except for a cell phone. So I
Yes,
may be coming in another way. But I'm trying to I have this as a backup just in case I can't get on here. But yeah, so
that's fine. I have it set up where you can just come right in.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I don't have to
So,
let you in. You can just come right on in. Yeah.
okay.
We're gonna have more people to join us for sure. We're just gonna hang out until folks come in and then we'll get started.
Yeah, there's gonna be a lot of people.
Yeah, there will.
She was an amazing woman.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, let somebody else.
Keeps things at least moving and the whole cabinet and the president from
Deborah
spinning out of
Wilcox,
control.
PhD.
She's done a
Who the
lot
hell
behind
is
the
that?
scenes. You don't have to.
Oh, I think that's a
She's
friend there.
been able to keep some
You want to make sure you mute yourself, okay?
Okay, then.
All right, okay.
I don't know what.
If you have any conversations going on in the background, please mute yourself. Hello, Margaret. Good to see you.
Hey, Deborah, thanks for doing this.
Oh, yeah, the least I could do. Yeah, at least I can do. And working in coordination with you as well. It's been great.
That's great.
Okay, I'll call you back.
I'm just waiting for some other folks to join. I know Pat Gunn's coming in and Roz, they should be coming in.
I think there's some other Savannah folk that said they were going to come.
Right. Yeah.
Hey Margaret, hey Chris, how are y'all doing?
Hey, Danny. Hey, Chris. I'm glad you're on. Is your mom on too, Chris?
Yes.
Good, good. I'm so glad. Hey, Brenda. Deborah, I understand you do these story circles. That's a regular thing you do. So
Oh, yeah. I've been doing them, it's a group of us, been doing them since 2018.
wow.
We started to do they're called mental health and wellness story circles. Story circles, to promote mental health and wellness and resiliency. And so we started to do them in 18 when I was out in Denver. We had a church and people just drop in on a Saturday every couple of weeks. Then we went to a drop-in center at a mental health agency that I was involved in, and it was a church, and we just drop in and start doing story circles. And a senior citizens facility that didn't have any kind of outlet for seniors to work on, mental distress or wellness. So we started
Right.
to do them there. And when COVID came, we didn't know what we was going to do because we were so organic, and had built such a community. And then we started doing them on Zoom, and then things started just flourishing. So we're once a month now. Folks come in, and we have a kind of a consistent cadre, and then we have people, new friends always joining. So it's open entry, open exit, no obligation or anything like that, but it's pretty enriching, yeah, for all of us.
Wonderful.
Yeah, for all of us.
Yeah.
Dr. Wilcox.
Yes,
I'm sorry. I'm trying to get onto our laptop to have trying to see if we can see this on a bigger screen than his cell phone. Do you know what the passcode is? Because I'm trying to, it won't let me.
There's no passcode. Just hit the link.
Okay, well, I
Nothing.
don't know. How do I get, I guess my question is, how would I get the link if I'm on the, so I'm able to get the link on the phone, which is why I'm able to, get on here now on the phone. But how would I get the link if I was on a computer?
Maybe
Like,
Margaret.
Danny,
Go ahead.
Danny, do you want me to forward you the email and then you can click on the link?
yeah, if you could, if you could email me the link, that'd be great. Do you have my email, Margaret?
I'm gonna look and see.
Okay, if not, I'll give it to you.
Oh, I don't think I do.
Okay. It's lowercase Adams, A is in apple, D is in dog, A is in apple, M is in Michael, S is in Sam, I is in igloo, I is in igloo, D is in dog, A is in apple, N is in Nancy, N is in Nancy, Y is in yo-yo at yahoo.com.
Goodness. Hope I
Yeah.
got that.
So it's A is an apple, D is in dog, A is an apple, M is
So
in
basically,
Michael.
it's Adams with then two I's and then Danny.
Right, at yahoo.com. Uh-huh.
Okay, got it.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
All right.
And I'll
I'm
go
sending it to you now.
Okay, and I'll go to my Yahoo mail.
Hey, an email and it had the link to it.
What is it? You know, I can't tell you about a sexual problem.
And everything.
Marilyn, can you hear me?
No, I hear you, but I don't hear anything else.
I don't hear anything else either.
Okay.
No one's talking. We haven't started yet.
Oh,
Okay, we haven't started yet, so a few more minutes here, we will get started formally.
okay.
So you're not missing anything. Welcome. Folks are just coming in, I'm just trying to give folks a chance to get in and get settled.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, everyone that's on here, please come in visually.
Oh, yeah. Okay, come on. Yeah, she said visually. And your eyes.
And we play, but yes, we get to know people, and then it's really been a blessing, all everybody concerned, nothing the same way.
Who is talking?
Yeah.
Okay, so if you're not talking, it's probably best to mute yourself, and that way we don't have to worry about incurring any background noise. Okay, so we have Sister Gunn, Pat Gunn, have you arrived?
There you go.
And Rosalind, are you all on? You ready? Pat, can you hear me?
Yes, can you hear us?
Yes, now I can.
Okay,
Okay.
we're trying to share the same screens that we're right here.
Okay, are you going to be on your phone?
Yes. Well, no,
Okay.
we wish we could be on the phone. I didn't see a number, so we were trying to.
No. I prefer you not to be.
Yes.
Yeah, are you on your laptop?
Yes, you see us?
Yes, uh-huh.
Okay.
You let me know when you're ready, and then I'll just have to bring us in formally. Everyone that's on the in the circle this evening, please come in visually.
We sing together.
Hi, this is Deborah. I'm sorry, I don't have a computer with a camera.
Okay, if you can't, that's understandable. But if you can, please do. So I know who's in the circle here, so I can see everyone. Okay, Pat, are you ready?
Yes, we're ready. Can you see
Okay.
us?
Yes, let me go ahead and we're going to open the story circle. My name is Deborah Wilcox, Dr. Wilcox. I'm out of the Dayton, Ohio area, close to Wilberforce University, where I teach as a first historical Black college in this southwestern part of Ohio. And we are here to celebrate the life of our sister, mother, friend, colleague. I know that her family members or maybe are on as well, her granddaughters, her son. We have all kinds of relationships that we want to really be able to have you all have an opportunity to talk about your relationship with Dr. Pat Stewart. I'm going to kind of read a little bit about Dr. Stewart. It was in some of the narrative was in the Zoom link that I sent out, but I want in order to get us started. First of all, I have a candle burning here for the spirit of this circle, that we're all in community around a woman who was a giant in our lives, a spiritual giant, a justice advocate. Dr. Stewart says, I'm a womanist who loves purple. Growing up, I was embraced by the church missionary and an African-American women's community organization. From this foundation, my sense of belonging, purpose, and commitment to justice evolved. The greatest gifts in life have come from people with everyday courage and caring. Those are her words. Dr. Stewart is truly a beloved woman and loved woman. She is also a champion and a long-distance runner for social justice and social change. Dr. Stewart has a history of volunteer work, to say the least, and a demonstrated leadership in family and human services, education, mental health, peer support, wellness, recovery, community activism. She also has well over a 30-year history as a licensed psychologist and clinical counselor. Her activist voice has been loud for racial justice and improving the quality of life for all marginalized people, for all people. She has fought for the integration of multicultural ethical best practices and equity in the practice of mental health services, public policy, and within social determinants of health, and her love for families and children. I met Dr. Stewart working on my doctoral work at Kent State, and around about 97, I met her. She's so active in the community, I had to run around to different meetings before I found her so I can land an internship. And I had to wait outside in the what you say corridor area and say with my resume and say, Dr. Stewart, I've been trying to call you. Can I do an internship at your agency? At that time, she was in family services in Akron, Ohio, vice president, doing some tremendous work with children and families in the community beyond measure. So Dr. Stewart has been a sister, mother, friend, grandmother, cousin, friend, mentor, and colleague with lots of people whom she individually considered very special in her life. Her contributions to humanity are endless, and her continued journey of spirit-driven service, engagement, education, and love for community is like a ripple in the pond, forever flowing and making a difference in all of our lives and lives of people that we don't even know, that her spirit is just continuing to make a difference. Let me say a little bit about our mental health wellness story circle. We have some people who are coming every month. We do a mental health wellness and resilience story circle where we're able to talk about anything we want to talk about. Sometimes we talk about self-care, we talk about spirituality, we talk about love was the last story circle we did in December. It was quite impactful. So a little bit about the culture of the story circle. This is not a conversation. This is about an opportunity for us to listen to each other and to hear each other and to be in community with each other. You know, say we'll open the circle up and we'll be able to talk about, say where you are, where you're living, a little bit about yourself and what you want to talk about in terms of how, what you want to share, reflections about your relationship with Dr. Stewart, what's on your heart, what's on your mind. We'd like to stay within, 3 to 5 minutes, and maybe we'll get back around, but allow everyone to have an opportunity to have some voice. So we don't do crosstalk during the story circle. However, at the end of the story circle, we will have an opportunity to do some conversation with one another before we end the story circle. Gwen, you had your hand up. Would you like to say something? You got to unmute.
I met Pat in 1976 when I was
Okay,
an
one
employee.
second. 1 second. Hold
Okay.
on. 1 second. Let me say this before you get started. I really would like Pat Gunn and Roslyn from they're the directors, co-directors of the Jubilee Center for Social Justice and Social Change in Savannah, Georgia. They're going to open our story circle up with a spiritual ritual, and then we're going to get into our stories. So, Pat, would you like to move forward?
Yes. Grand evening to all. In the morning, when I rise, I want to rise holy when I rise. In the morning, when I rise, I want to rise sanctified. On the coast of Georgia and throughout the nation, we had a sister friend, a queen mother, and all the acolytes that have already been shared. We have had an opportunity to be in her presence and feel her spirit and her warmth. She now belongs to the ages, but we pray this moment forward that we carry the warmth of her love within us every single day. No one knew the day, the time, the hour, but we knew that she was traveling for a while. We thank you for the opportunities, Sister Pat Stewart, to come each and every way of everyone who will prevail their voices this evening. We knew that when you rose holy and you rose sanctified. And every spirit and soul that embraces you as you make your way into the heavens, we know that you are beloved there and you shall ever be beloved here on earth. You rose, you rose, you rose, you traveled, and we release you to the ancestors, and we release you with love.
Ashe. Thank you so much, Pat. So we're going to open the circle.
It's at Christmas.
We're going to open the circle now. And then what we like to do, what we usually do in the story circle, we use a talking stick. Since you might not have a talking stick available, you might have something on your desk or where you're sitting, you can raise it up so we can acknowledge you, or you can use the chat and use the hand symbol. And Pat and I will be co-facilitating this process, and we'll call on you and allow you to share your reflections, what's on your heart, what's on your mind, what you're thinking, what you're feeling about our beloved sister friend. So we always have Gwen Wilson from hometown, Akron, Ohio, where Pat lived most of her life. We'll start.
I met Pat in 1976. I worked for a place called Western Reserve Human Services, and Betty Borum was my boss. Pat and Betty were close friends, so we saw Pat with some frequency. Just briefly, my favorite stories about Pat is she got in her PhD. She got in her PhD, and she had applied to what was Neo-UCOM, which was the medical school here in the area, for a position, and they did not hire her. So, my thing would have been, okay, I'll just go on and do something else. But Pat got angry. Pat sued them, and she got I think it was a mink coat with the money that she got from them. And I always enjoyed seeing her in that because she wore it like the queen she was, that she had earned her PhD, she had earned that position, and she was not going to let them get away with that. And that's the Pat I remember, and I'm going to miss her. That's all I wanted to say.
I say, so good to see you and Roger. Roger, did you have anything you would like to share?
No, I just unfortunately I didn't know Pat, but I'm seeing all the people who gathered for to pay tribute, and the little bit I got from Gwen is I think she was a person worth memory.
No question about that. You know, I want to let you know that when I met her in 97, I knew about her because my first job in Akron, Ohio was with the Urban League, and that was in 75. So I've been knowing, her since then, but I got to know her personally when she was vice president of family services in Akron, Ohio. And so, as I did my residency, my clinical work, and my internship with her agency, she made sure that I had the best therapist to supervise my experience with her agency. I got a chance to do couples and family and individuals and school. And I mean, just amazing, And I told her when she got ready to move to Savannah, I said, I am never going to leave you. And as a result of that, we started doing work together. We've done workshops on racial justice, race and psychology. We've done work on rites of passage with families and nonprofit organizations. And she had to, introduce me to Sister Gunn, who opened up our circle, and Roz at the Jubilee Center. And they're going to talk about that. Her activism it's just unreal. We just always had a blast. But I remember when she got ready to leave the agency, she wanted to leave me a little pot of money to continue to do some of the consultation work I was doing at a local high school with adolescents in Akron. So the money was not there, so she called the accountant, and he couldn't find it. I never seen Pat like really go over the top because she was kind of smooth the way she handled issues. But she went over the top about that money. She said, "You're going to find that money because we're going to keep serving these young people in the community." So, and Dr. and Deborah Wilcox is going to help facilitate that, continue that process. He found that money right away. It was no doubt. So I learned. I said, "Oh, okay, Dr. Stewart. She know how to bring the juice." So, but we had such love. We had such sister mother love, and she told me, she said, "We're gonna stay together, but we're not gonna have list conversations like what'd you do today, what'd you do yesterday. I did this. The plumber came over. We're not doing that." So we always had these conversations about our practice, the richness, what we're learning, what we're growing, how we're going to engage the community, what the critical issues were. Our conversations were always full of substance and also our shared extended family and love, always full of love and working through complex issues together. And just had I've just been blessed. But my mother spiritually told me, don't you leave Dr. Pat. So she had the same type of values that my mom had. So I've just been blessed. So I'm going to stop there and open the circle. Who else would like to share? Yes, her daughter, I'm one daughter. This is the daughter, Dr. Mosley.
It's Mobley.
That's what I said.
Thank you, Deborah, and everybody that helped you. Yeah, we started calling each other daughter, sister, friend, and mother, sister, friend. I think after her son Ernest died, but I've known this family since they moved to Akron. Her son Ernest, the late Dr. Ernest Stewart, and I were debate partners at Bookto High School. And when he died, I was asked to speak at his graveside service and to sing at his graveside service. And I decided I was in their family after that. They couldn't get me out of it. And so we remained close over the years. She asked me to do the eulogy for her sister Barbara when her sister Barbara died. I was there at, I think it was at Somerville's funeral home. But anyway, over the years, she left Wesley Temple, where she had been a member, and joined Arlington Church of God, which is where I'm a associate minister now, and I lead the grief team and the wellness team. And a member of the wellness team is on this call. I'll let Dr. Sanders speak for himself, but Dr. Pat joined that church, and over the years, she was there until Ernest died, and then she moved to Savannah. But a few years ago, I think it was 3 years ago, she said, I want to reinstate my membership at Arlington. So we worked with the pastor and the team, and she did what do you call it? A Zoom call. She did a Zoom testimony because she wanted to reassociate. She has a church there in Savannah, but she said she missed some of the hymns, she missed some of the people, and she was coming in on Zoom anyway. So I was grateful that they were able to hook her up, and she gave her testimony and said in her testimony, I want to reinstate my membership. So that was beautiful for me. Like Deborah, she and I were already having regular conversations. And I realized that today, Deborah, Sundays are going to be hard for me because Sunday I would leave church, go get my Sunday New York Times, and call Dr. Pat. That's my ritual. We talked every Sunday. And so it was only in this last year that sometimes we didn't talk as often. We used to talk almost every day, sometimes 3 and 4 times a day. And like you say, I agree with you. It was about substance. Sometimes we were talking about Richard Rohr. Sometimes we were talking about Howard Thurman. Sometimes we were talking about Zornberg. She was always reading from Zornberg to me. She read from Zornberg as much as she read from the Old Testament. But she was a prayer warrior. Pat and I prayed together over the phone. We talked about politics. We talked about how the community is going to resist various forms of injustice happening right now. So sometimes when you lose somebody, you say, well, how am I going to make it? I know we're going to make it because Dr. Pat would say, don't go there, Meryl. She would say, Meryl, don't go there. You know you're going to make it. By the help of the Lord, we're going to make it. But I think one of my fondest memories is she and I had a love of Toni Morrison. I'm a Toni Morrison scholar. She went with me to the Toni Morrison conference in Paris in 2010, and we co-facilitated a multicultural dialogue for scholars who are international scholars. Because she knew, like I knew, everybody teaching Toni Morrison don't understand what's going on in Toni Morrison's novels. And so so Dr. Pat and I co-facilitated this workshop. The methodology is called a World Cafe, but you just engage people in talking about what they do and you get dialogue. And it was just so beautiful. She met Toni Morrison on that occasion. And so I'm just grateful for these moments I've had to talk to her about things that matter. As Deborah said so well, to talk about community, what's happening in the community. Dr. Pat was always on it. And when I went to her house for her 95th birthday, I tried to get there early because I wanted the guest bedroom. And when I went to her bedroom, there was everything, her laptop, her iPhone, books all around. I said, oh, this is Command Central up in here. Her bed was Command Central. And so any article you could tell her about, she had already read it. Anything in the news, she already knew. And so I just loved, up until maybe last year, she was on it like that, on what was happening. What do we need to be working on? What is the community, the agencies that claim to care? What should they be doing? Dr. Pat always had an idea about that. And so I probably have used up my time, but the last thing I want to say is she and I wrote a libation together. I'll just hold up the book. The book is called Teaching Beautiful, Brilliant Black Girls. And she and I wrote a libation together. She's read it on different occasions. I've read it also. But the subtitle is what I like because Dr. Pat is responsible for the subtitle. Lessons from the Front Porch, a libation from the elders. So she is the elder. I'm a young elder, but I just love the way we were included in this book of essays about how do you teach in the community so that people can learn what is important to survive. And not just survive. Dr. Pat was always interested in how do you thrive in a world that has become so hectic and so crazy and so unjust. So I thank you for organizing this session for us to come together. I absolutely loved this woman. And I loved how she operated, how she navigated spaces. When we came in town for her birthday, we went into the city for a fish fry. All the people at the fish fry knew at the juke joint. Okay, it was a juke joint. Everybody knew Dr. Pat because at one point she was quoting Paulo Freire, "We make the road by walking." She was making a new life of ministry for herself by just walking around Savannah, just talking to people, loving up on people. So I love the way the last word for Advent is love. For the Advent, the 4 Sundays of Advent. And she demonstrated love. She lived love. She loved people, all walks of people. And so I'm just grateful for this opportunity to say how much I love Dr. Patricia Stewart. Thank you.
Well, Dr. Mobley, she loved you too, dearly. And I'm really aware of the fact that she knew you since she was a little girl. So you all had a nice, long life journey together. Thank you so
I
much.
don't know where they are, but I want to say to Mark and to Sydney and Taylor, I loved Dr. Pat. She loved me, but she sure enough loved you all. And her spirit and the spirit of the Lord is going to be with you to comfort you right in through here. But you got our numbers, you have our text message, you have our text, and we're going to hang in there with you in the weeks and months to come because we know this is a loss like none other. But I just wanted Mark and Sydney and Taylor to hear me say that on this call, and thank you for recording it.
For sure.
Thank you.
I just want to say real quick too, it's Sydney here. I'm saying hi, but
Sydney,
Dad,
introduce yourself.
hey, this is Sydney. I'm Patricia's youngest grandbaby. But I did want to send out a word for, my dad wants to send his love. I think he's gonna opt in for maybe the recorded version of this. Just wasn't feeling quite emotionally ready for it yet, but I'm glad this is being recorded. But I am here. I'm here with my mom, and I thank you all for also being here and taking in all of these stories. I don't know, one by one. But I'm happy to be here, and I'm glad that you guys organized this. This is great.
You look good, Sydney. Good
Thank
to
you.
see you.
Yes, really good to see you, Sydney. Yes, for sure. Thank you for that.
Yeah, thank you.
Would you like to say anything else?
Well, I'm upstairs.
Oh, hello, Taylor.
Oh, Sid, go ahead. I just wanted to say I'm here. We're all in the same space.
Okay, Taylor, introduce yourself.
I'm grandbaby cakes number 1. Grandma's first granddaughter, and I'm gonna share something, but it's just the light of my life.
Oh, we're glad you're here.
Did you want to say anything else?
Yeah, I'm gonna ease my way into it.
Sure, we're holding space for you, so
Yeah.
take your time.
Thank you. Mary. Also, when you said the command center, I love that. I never thought about it like that, but that was the command center, that bed. Books, all articles, everything. Tennis on in the background or HGTV. Comfortable. Said I didn't know if you wanted to continue.
No, Taylor, go ahead. If you're going to share something, you're good.
Well, I have something written down. I'm gonna go ahead and listen for a few more minutes.
I'll say something.
Okay, and then when you want to come back in, Taylor, just let me know, raise your hand up, and
Okay.
you come right on back into the circle. Thank you.
Okay.
And who would like to share next?
So I'm Sandy Shea Davis.
Okay.
And my mother and Pat were very tight. My mother was a force to be reckoned with in the city of Savannah, Georgia. She was very close with Pat. They pioneered undoing racism in Savannah in union with the Catholic Church. And my niece Katie Shea was friends with Taylor and Sydney. And can y'all hear me okay and everything's good? Okay.
Everything's good.
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So
Love
it's good to
Katie
see you,
Shea.
Sydney, and it's good to see you, Taylor. I don't know if you
Good to
remember
see
me. Yes,
Yes,
yes.
I didn't realize you were Katie Shays.
I'm
I
her aunt. I'm
yeah,
her
now I
aunt.
remember.
Yes, yes, yes. And so Mother and Pat were torchbearers in the city of Savannah, Georgia. And my mother died 15 years ago. Oops, it's a tough one, just recently. But so Pat and I kept up a relationship after Nancy died. And, you know, my mother was, like I say, a force to be reckoned with, but Pat was as well, but in a much more calm, loving, and gentle manner. And like I said, they did Undoing Racism together in union with the Catholic Church, which was way before its time. Um, and unfortunately, I don't think the Catholic Church is doing that anymore. But Nancy and Pat played tennis together. They were super seniors. I'm telling you, Pat was how old? 93?
96.
96. Wow. My mother was 97. And then Pat and Nancy were tennis players together until mother couldn't play anymore. And oh, I've got some little
How long
notes.
did they play until? Were they both like in their 80s?
Well, mother died when she was 77, but she still would get out there with Mary Campbell. I don't know if you remember Mary Campbell, but she was Pat and Nancy and Marcelin Preston's coach. So Nancy would get out there with her. So, you know, until in their late 80s and early 90s.
Better than
So I want to let you and Sydney and you, Taylor, know that Katie gives you her love and her best wishes. And my mother and Pat and Kim Pelote's mom and Angie Wright Jenkins's mom all went to see Harry Belafonte together about, gosh, I guess, 20 years ago. So that was a big deal. But Pat touched me, and we became friends after my mother passed. And
Hold on. Someone needs to mute their phone. If you're not
Is it me?
speaking, mute your phone if you're not speaking.
Okay.
Okay, or mute your, go ahead.
Let me see if there's anything else I want to say. So my goal is to carry the torch, do the relay for Nancy and Pat. And I don't think I'm as strong as they are because they were very, very strong. But, it's my job. And I want to give my deepest sympathies to Mark and you, Lindsay and Sydney and Taylor. So God bless you all. I know Nancy and Pat are having a large time right now, reuniting, and I'm very thankful for their relationship and my relationship with Pat. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sandy. Appreciate your reflections. And yeah, she played tennis all the way through the middle 80s. I played tennis with her.
Did you?
I was going
In
to
Savannah?
I played tennis. I went to Savannah at least a couple times over 16 years. And, she introduced me to some people that, one woman I remember, she just beat my socks off and we talked about that. We laughed about it. But yeah, I played tennis through undergrad school and then that's what we did. And so she played tennis up to her middle 80s. And I said, oh, so that's what I'm doing. I'm doing
Good for you.
I'm starting
Me too.
got back into my game 2 summers ago and I'm moving ahead. I'm in good shape.
You go,
thank you
girl.
for sharing that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And she gave me the motivation to say, hey, if you can play tennis to your middle 80s, I got this.
Well, there's
So
one
we
more
went-
thing. She would go to Sentient Bean. I don't know if you all know this,
Oh
but
yeah.
yeah, on the south side of Forsyth Park, and she would just hang out and be with the disadvantaged. She would just hang out and be with them. That was just a blessing. So I'm gonna have coffee with my friend Angie Wright Jenkins at the Sentient Bean soon in honor of Pat. So we miss you, Pat.
Thank you,
Thank
Sandy.
you.
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Who else would like to share some reflections? Just hold your hand up so I can see you. And
I just wanted to say real quick, thank you, Miss Sandy, and tell Katie I said I miss her. We were in school together since like first grade, so y'all passed down the network is just so amazing how the network
Absolutely.
literally generational.
That's right. Don't get you got to carry the torch too, my friend.
Yeah, I know.
You
That's a
you and
big
Sid,
torch.
it is a big torch. You're right. You're so right. But in this day and time, we absolutely need it. And
Absolutely.
I'm middle generation between your grandma and you. So
We have some other people that want to share some
okay,
reflections.
I'm done.
Yeah. Juanita, how about you? So good to see you, my Denver sister friend.
Thank you so much. And I consider it a privilege to be included in this gathering. Deborah was kind enough to introduce Dr. Pat to me while she was visiting here in Denver. Our visit was short, but there was something about her spirit that was very impactful. And I considered it a privilege, and it made my heart smile that Deborah would think of me to introduce me to her beautiful, beautiful friend. And I was blessed by that experience.
Thank you so much, Juanita, and it's so good to see you. It's a real pleasure.
It's good to see you as well.
Something?
Pardon?
Yeah.
Who's speaking? Okay, okay. Who was that? Okay, we have Linda Brown that's going to speak, and then Gwen Glover will speak. Linda?
Greetings, everyone. So happy and grateful to be here tonight. Dr. Wilcox, I tell you what, I really appreciate you and everyone else who's joined us in the room tonight. Dr. Pat, I'm maybe one of the most recent people to meet her. I met her in 2017. Yes. No, 2018. I returned to Savannah, 2016. So I met her. I met her through a friend at her church. Actually, I saw her at her church, Asbury, which was then United Methodist Church, but they've changed, made some changes since then. And she was at this, she spearheaded that, by the way. But anyway, the thing I think about her is, come on, baby, light my fire. I didn't think I was a lightweight when I met her, but I'm here to tell you, returning back to Savannah, having been mostly away for the last 40 plus years, have relatives here, so I was back and forth. But still, my head was in Atlanta, where I home a record, and then in the military as well. But the thing about it is, back in Savannah, returning, uh, trying to resuscitate some of the friends that I was left here who had come back and was here. It was, I mean, it was, I can't say how it was. But so anyway, I met her at the peak of that, trying to resuscitate, I would say, the dead, okay? People who just didn't want to be resuscitated. They were not on the fast track like Dr. Stewart was playing tennis. Well, I almost needed a moped. I don't do but moped to keep up with her, okay? So I was at an Inmark function after seeing her at Asbury United Methodist Church. Her friend Margaret Levy Cook, who is still a member of Asbury, had invited me many times to the church. So I saw Pat, and usually after service, the people would just flock to her. So a group of people would just flock to her. So I never really met her. So one day we were at Inmark. She was participating in a health fair. Inmark sponsored a health fair. I was actually volunteering at a school in Atlanta, in Savannah. I have to think. I'm in Savannah now. And I walked down a short distance to this Inmark health fair. So there she was coming out after the event. A lady who'd helped me find a parking space, Carolyn Guilford. I don't know if she's on the call. She is on the call, that she hooked me up with her that day. So she introduced me to Dr. Stewart. And from then on, she put me in touch with the right people. Dr. Wilcox was one. That that was a pleasure working with her for 3 years, pre-COVID, during COVID, post-COVID. And I did come the circles, but that was before you had your circle started. I met some people that you had introduced me to who were doing the circles, and they were good things. But when you have to prioritize and be here rather than there, sometimes you have to let some things go. But Dr. Pat made a difference in my life. Hopefully, I made a difference in her life. I can say it to the family. I know you're going to miss her, but she's going to always be around now because we don't really go anywhere, really. I mean, we can talk to our ancestors. That's why we call them ancestors, okay? And then, of course, like she had friends who's there waiting on her when she got there, and she's all over the place now, probably. Another headquarters set up. But I would say, in my case, having the same birthday as Mark, not the same year, her son, I may have shown her the female version of him. And I asked her one day, I guess about 5, 6 months ago, I asked her, I said, well, listen, I said, can I ask you a question? Because my son, my only son, has her birth sign. And of course, Mark and I have the sign of Aries. So that's like fire and water, right? I said, can I ask you a question? I said, and I have an only son. So my son is maybe kind of like spoiled. But I asked her, I said, well, can you tell me if you and Mark make steam? So she thought about it for a minute. She said, yeah, we do. So firework makes steam. So if Mark, when you get the recording, you'll know that I showed her the female version of you. Because Pat and I made some steam sometime, okay? But never did we disagree to the point that we did not come back in again and go for another round. And I appreciate her. I'll never forget her. And I'm just glad that I got an experience to meet her and several of the people on the Zoom call tonight. Thank you, Dr. Wilcox, again for giving me the opportunity to speak. And thank you, everyone, for listening. And I can go on and on and on, but I'm going to give someone else a turn.
That's great. Thank you, Linda. It's so good to see you. Real pleasure. Yes. Gwen Glover from Savannah.
Hi. It's so good that we all decided to get together like this tonight. I'm sure Dr. Pat would enjoy being a part of this. And I'm sure something tells me she's looking at us and smiling. It was so good to see Sydney and Taylor. Just let you know that Phil and I are here. We're in support. And if you and your dad need anything, we're here. Okay. And thanks so much to Margaret Clay. I wanted to say that in front of some people because she really held things together for us here. And I'm so grateful to her even till today. And I hope we all form a huge circle because that's what Doc would like. She would like us to all continue to be part of a circle and part of a group of people who work for social justice and for community. I had a great time. We had many great times together going to the pool hall and going to intellectual discussions and debates and spending hours on the phone talking about books. She's an incredible person. It was such a blessing for my life to have ever met her. And people used to think we were mother-daughter, a mother-daughter pair, which I always found funny because she's so tiny up next to me. And I'm like, how would she have ever had me, But it was always fun to be out and about with her. And she knew all the most beautiful people. Oh my goodness. Everyone, just a fabulous fashionista, everything. They don't make them like her every day. God bless us all for having been in her presence. She was a wonderful person. Love you all.
Okay. Oh.
Thank you.
Oh, I have something to say.
Yes, Phil.
I'm Phil Starks. I'm Gwen's husband, and Pat and I laughed about this all the time. The first time I'm a concierge at the Hyatt Regency, and in 2005 they always Sunday jazz concert. So it was in the evening time, and I'm moseying around the hotel like I do, and people were coming in for the concert, and I'm looking at the archway, the hallway coming in, and there's this stunning sister. She was bald. She had on big loops and earrings, yeah, and she was just I had to stop in my tracks and say, who in the hell is this? This senior lady. And that's how we met. And we've had this thing for each other ever since that night. And we still we still laugh. Well, we did laugh about it all the time, about how I first met this sexy, beautiful 80-year-old woman with a bald head walking through, sashaying through the hotel. She was like a queen, and which she is.
Yeah.
And plus, I'm from Columbus, so we had a lot of connections. My grandfather hired her father, just all kind of connections that we had. And I'll always live with, and I'm honored that I knew the grand matriarch of them all. Patty, as she liked us to call her, the lady.
Patty.
Patty. She said, "Don't call me doctor, call me Patty."
Yeah, she sure did.
So, Patty, you'll always be in my third eye. Thank you.
Thank you, Phil. Thank you so much. Margaret Clay, one of her best buddies, running buddies.
Yes.
Let's hear your voice, Margaret. And thank you so much for supporting me and us collectively working together for our circle this evening. It was so good to talk with you the other evening. It made my heart feel good. I know that you and Pat were buddies. And so I know that I want to hear your voice and your reflections.
Thank you. Thank you, Deborah. I really appreciate you organizing this. I'm aware that Angie has her hand raised, so I'm happy to let Angie go first. I'm happy to talk, but Angie, I'm curious, happy to see you here. If you want to go ahead and speak.
Yes, Angie, go ahead. You have to unmute yourself, Angie. There you go.
Okay. My name is Angie Wright Jenkins. Sandy Shea Davis mentioned me. Pat and I have so many relationships. I met Pat about 30 years ago here in Savannah playing tennis. Sandy Shea and I play tennis. I'm a bit younger than she is. That was where I first met her, was at Bacon Park playing tennis. We have made a circle from the sentient being, as Sandy said. I sat out there with her on many occasions, having many different conversations with her. I also visited with her several times at the Oaks Assisted Living. She would go in and out of the hospital and would ask me to keep Dizzy. Excuse me.
Take your time.
Dizzy is her little dog. Still is her little dog. Dizzy is looking at me right now. But anyway, she would go in and out of the hospital and ask me if I would keep her while she was in there. And I did. The last time she actually went in the hospital, she said, "Angie, please just keep Dizzy." And I have Dizzy now.
Aww.
And I would quite often, I'm a big animal person, which is why she wanted me to have Dizzy. Well, Dizzy also has a wardrobe. So, and about 60 different pink color bows. So I would dress her and take her to see Pat, and she would laugh, and couldn't believe Dizzy would have more clothes than she did. There's so many Pat stories, but she was, as Sandy said, a force to to reckon with, but in a gentle, kind way, she would make her point, and you respected it. I love Pat so much. My words, I have no words for it. Mark, Sydney, Taylor, you all have blessed me with a wonderful human being. One more thing I want to say. Pat and my mother, Mercedes Wright Arnold, Sandy Shea, mother, we all went together to see Harry Belafonte, and Kim's mother was with them. And I do have a photograph of the 4+1 Harry Belafonte of them together. And it was just a moment that I will never forget. And then this is the last thing I'll say. So often, me, my mom, Pat, Sandy went with us a couple of times, would go out to eat. We'd pick Pat up from assisted living and we'd all go out to eat. And one of the times, my mom and another friend of mine, Mary, we rode the tram downtown together to have lunch. So, and this was during Christmas, maybe about 2 or 3 years ago. But the conversations we would have, the love she had for other people, I don't care what your status in life was, she loved you and respected you as a human being. She is and was a magnificent human being. I can't put it any other way. I know I keep saying this, but Taylor had her hand up and she said she was her grandbaby cake. She called me her baby cake and I would call her mama cake. I am done. Thank you all for listening.
Thank you, Angie. Thank you so much for sharing. Yes, everyone that Pat he was able to love someone for who they are individually. Each person had their own relationship with Dr. Stewart because she was able to do that, to meet people exactly where they are and be in their life in a very meaningful way. That's for sure. Margaret, did you want to?
Sure. I met Pat when she was she started coming to Asbury Memorial Church. And, she, dressed, like nobody else. She had short blonde hair and she was playing competitive tennis with all the rich white ladies at the landings, which is exclusive housing area, and beating everybody. And then I found out that she was not 60, but she was like 82. And she was just, I don't know, I was just always just fascinated with her. And I'm just so grateful. She would call me up. She lived in Georgetown, which is about, 20, 30 minutes outside of Savannah. And she'd call and she'd say, there's something going on at Jepson, the museum. You want to go with me? Of course, I hadn't heard about it. So I said, yeah. So she'd drive all the way in and we'd ride together and we'd go to these things and she'd introduce me to all kind of people and tell me about art and culture and all sorts of stuff that I didn't know anything about, and just opened up the whole world of the African American culture and all kind of stuff. I just was kind of like, can I just soak all this up? I just couldn't get enough of being around her. One of my most favorite memories of her was at the Sentient Bean that people have talked about, a little coffee shop. They used to have, on occasion, these social justice, I don't know what they would, it's an evening. And different people would talk, like a little panel of people would talk, and then everybody would hang out. And so after one of these, we were outside in the dark on the sidewalk, and there was someone who had no home. There was someone who used to be mayor. There was somebody who was really wealthy. This little circle of this complete variety. And I just watched, and Pat was holding court. She was the one that brought everybody together. And I just thought, who is this person? I think I knew her for several years before I even knew she had a doctorate. So yeah, I don't talk about that. And so I don't know, she was just remarkable. I want to say this, that um, I was there the afternoon that she passed, and on my way home, I was going down the highway here, the Truman Parkway, and it was like, I don't know, you see things that aren't really there. I mean, I can't really see them with my eye, but I could see them with my spirit. And it was like her spirit just filled up the whole sky. And I thought, oh, she has been released from this body that just doesn't work. I mean, her spirit was so strong. I couldn't believe she made it through all the hospital nightmares for just forever. It just seemed like forever. And she kept, it's like, well, she's not getting out of the hospital. This could be the last time I see her. And then she got out of the hospital. And then she ended up getting out of bed and she got in a wheelchair. It's like, and just about less than a month ago, she said, you know, I'm gonna get back on my walker. Now that I can actually lift my own legs, I'm gonna get on the walker. And she probably would have, except she didn't have, if she'd had a dedicated physical therapist to help her, she'd have done that. But you know, it's like right after she died, I just started getting this what felt like a bigger view of her, because when I was kind of in it with her, it was just our conversations, the rich conversations that we've all had, and it was just this back and forth. And but when her body wasn't here anymore, I started seeing her from like an aerial view, and I thought, you know, I think she's more like Jesus than anybody I've ever met. She spoke truth.
Mhm.
She was loving. She was loving to everybody. She was a respecter of everybody. She made room for everybody. She saw the best in everybody. She invited everybody to be the best they could be, just matter of factly, just matter of factly. And I just, you know, I just feel somebody else said this, maybe it was Sandy, but she's passed the baton.
Mhm.
And here we are.
Here
She
we
brought
are.
us all together.
Absolutely.
So I'm really grateful for everybody and all our collective experience. And I hope that we can stay connected and keep learning from this incredible woman.
Yeah, she's co-facilitating this process right now.
Yeah, I believe that.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
believe that.
Absolutely.
yeah. She just spoke to me and said, you know, we got this, like we
Yeah,
always do.
there
We
you go.
co-facilitate a lot of things.
That's right.
Yes,
Thank
I'd
you so
like
much.
to ask Dr. Carmichael, Irma Carmichael, who's a psychologist, sister friend out of Columbus, Ohio, who has been knowing Dr. Stewart and studied with Dr. Stewart. They have a collective sisterhood. Dr. Carmichael, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, my name is Irma Phillips Carmichael, and Pat and I actually studied together for the psych exam. And that was quite a journey. And we encouraged each other and promoted each other as we journeyed there. I think what I remember about her most, one day we were driving around and she noticed someone who was homeless and in need of money. And the irritation she felt at that moment was deeply profound. She said, "This is so ridiculous that there are folks in our midst who would be without." And so she opened up her pocketbook and pulled out some money. And part of that is, you know, the journey that says, we are going to put our money where our mouths are. We are going to journey in such a way that others know our goodness. And so those are the things that remind me of her. Whenever I see someone on the street, I am reminded of her. That is part of her legacy, as she was so generous and kind to folks who didn't have and tried to accommodate them in the moment.
Absolutely. Thank you. It's so good to see you, Dr. Carmichael. Good to see
Good
you.
to see you.
Thank you. Would someone else like to share? How about Dr. Saunders? I'm gonna unmute.
There we go. Okay.
Okay, there you go.
Good evening, everyone. This has been very, very good for me. Um, I knew Pat at the infancy of my career, and she and the group at Western Reserve, of which Gwen is one of those, and Betty Borum, um, they were like a family, a professional family to me, in their support and helping me to be on the right path in the work that I've been doing over the years, particularly with the notion of looking for the heart of things, the directness of things, because Pat was a very direct person, whereas Betty brought the emotion. I mean, she was just that kind of person. So, and over the years, I've touched base with Pat at different times. Always an encourager to me. And she's just, I don't have all the complicated years that y'all have had in Savannah, et cetera, but yeah, she's just has that special moment in my life, that's that very much contributed to who I am today. And so I thank God for him positioning her in my life when he did. So that's all I really have to share. Unfortunately, I have another appointment obligation I have to meet, so I'm gonna have to sign off. But I thank you for giving me this chance to share what I discovered when I first met Pat and what she's meant to me over the years. So I appreciate that.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Saunders. It's so good to see you after all these years.
Yeah, it's been a while.
I remember when.
Mm-hmm.
You have a
Okay.
good evening, and thank you so much for your reflective remarks. Most
All right.
appreciated. Yes.
All right. Good night, everybody.
Good night. We have other folks. Danny, would you like to share?
I'm sorry, I had to find the unmute button.
Executive Director of Ivy Bay CDC.
Everybody,
We service
make
right
sure
here on the west side. Our mission is
put yourself on mute.
build wealth in low wealth communities.
Who's speaking?
So that's what we're here for. If anyone knows anything about the first district is
I'm not sure who that is.
in Savannah.
Beverly Trotter, can you mute yourself?
There we go. Okay, Beverly, gotta hold yourself there for a minute. We couldn't hear you. So hold on. Danny, would you like to speak?
Yeah, so for me and I didn't really know the Professor Stewart. I met Pat Asbury. I got to know her more, I guess, as a person, and I'm looking at the screen now. We have like my computer system, we have like three screens, so it looks like we're staring off to the right hand side, where I'm actually looking directly at the screen on the right hand side, so it looks like I'm looking off. But I the one thing I remember her saying as I was thinking about what people were talking about was there was something she said, and she used to do the 10 o'clock hour, which is as Asbury Church's version of kind of like Sunday school for adults. And she said in one of the classes, I see you. And I think that's the biggest thing about Pat saw you. She took the time to meet you where you were at. She didn't expect you to come where she was. She went to where you were at. Emotionally, spiritually, she was always there to be there for the people that she loved and cared about, which was everybody. She loved everybody unconditionally. And it didn't matter who you were, it didn't matter your background. She just saw a human being. I do kind of agree with what you're saying, Margaret. I mean, she had this Christ-likeness about her and just her spirit and her ability to just continue to even when she was, I remember me and Joseph, we saw her when she was in the hospital, even in her hospital bed, the spunkiness, the fire, the I'm not, I'm going to, I'm going to speak truth and do what's right. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to me that I may not be able to do the things I once did, but in the person I am, I'm still that fire of who she was was always there, and I have no doubt that her light that left this world is shining brightly in heaven.
Yeah.
And, and my goal my goal in life is to be more like her as I grow and mature and do things in my life. So, and
I just wanted to say I've known Pat for many years, and I went to church with her at Asbury. And the first time she came to Asbury, Dan and I befriended her and made her feel welcome and loved. And from then on, we've been very close. And one thing I haven't heard, she was on television on the St. Joseph commercial for years, her out there playing tennis. I don't know if you all remember that commercial, but she was on television for a long time. And I was there with her when she had her colon cancer surgery, and she was just a sweet spirit to be around. And I just want to say, when someone dies that you love, they never really die. They remain in your heart and in your mind.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for
You
sharing,
bet.
for sure. Dr. Robertson, Gertrude Robertson, like to introduce yourself?
Yes, I'm Dr. Gertrude Robinson. I live here in Savannah, Georgia. I met Dr. Stewart as a result of being her grandchildren's principal in high school. So, and Dr. Stewart and I have this passion for public education. But we also recognized that public education in Chatham County needed to change. And she was a part of the the Susie King Taylor Charter School. And I unsuccessfully tried to start a charter school for boys in Chatham County. So she and I connected on that level because she was always telling me about these things that she did prior to coming back to Savannah and her work. And she and I would talk, not very often, but we would talk. And it was always about what do we need to do to ensure that every child in Chatham County received an adequate education. So it's been my pleasure to have met Taylor and Sydney and to be a part of their lives through their educational process in Chatham County and to have met their grandmother.
Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you so much. Oh, her passion for education, my goodness. That's fundamental and foundational. She was a teacher in the Akron school system for years. Jacqueline, would you like to share some of your remarks around your relationship with Dr. Stewart?
Good evening. I'm Jacqueline McCray. I'm in Cincinnati, Ohio, and thank you so much, Dr. Wilcox, for introducing me to Dr. Pat. And as I was listening to some of the remarks before you got to me.
Yeah, it's okay. Hold on. Go. Sorry, Jacqueline, I don't know who that is.
That's okay. Yeah.
Go ahead.
As I was listening to some of the remarks before you got to me, I thought about a little bit of the homily or the sermon today from my church service, and the song "This Little Light of Mine" came to me, and so I remember Dr. Pat in that way because her light always shone so brightly in so many different ways, and everyone that has spoken has talked about her shining light, her brightness, and her brilliance, and it will continue to shine even as she has left, this earthly plane. But I will just let everyone here know that Dr. Pat was one of my dissertation advisors, and so her light shining brightly as she would ask me like the deepest, hardest questions related to my research that I would have to really think about and go back and do some extra study and some extra research and some extra writing. And so I remember her most fondly and appreciatively in that way because she helped me really get through a very difficult and challenging and rigorous educational process that she was a part of. And then, at the other end of the spectrum, I think about, and someone mentioned that she was such a fashion plate. And that is so true because the last time I saw and got to visit with Dr. Pat, and we were at the Sentient Being at the coffee shop, so I remember that very vividly. But I received a very ornate Chico's jacket, this green, very sharp denim jacket. And every time I wear it, I get so many compliments. And so, her light just continues to shine brightly in my life. And I'll just say, I remember being there for her, for her birthday celebration in Savannah. And one of the things that occurred to me as I was there, and I made it known, my godmother was Patricia. And then I had Dr. Pat. So I had, Dr. Pat was like, my godmother in many ways, very, very fashionable, very fashion conscious, very educated, always pushing me, right? Beyond even the limits that I thought that I could reach. And then just a bright light. And so thank you so much, Deborah, and thank you everyone that's here. And Taylor and Sydney, I send you my best and sincere blessings to you and to your dad. And I just want you to know that I so much loved and appreciated your grandmother. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Jacqueline. Thank you so much for those remarks, for sure.
Yes.
Yes, someone else would like to speak. Was it Beverly? Would you like to share?
Absolutely. How are you guys doing today?
Can you come in visually?
Ma'am?
Can you come in visually?
I'm at a Kwanzaa celebration. Let me try. Trying to. I'm in a building.
Well, if you can, it's fine.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm celebrating Kwanzaa here, and I would be remiss if I did not join in the memorial service for Dr. Stewart. Dr. Stewart, first, let me just tell you, my name is Beverly Trotter. I'm the director of Savannah U City. I met Dr. Stewart some 10 years ago. A moving experience. She would always say to me and the children that I served to let our light shine. So it wasn't until further down I realized that it was more than just a face for her. It was a way that she moved around and throughout the world. She believed that everybody carried light and that the purpose of life, well lived, is to let that light illuminate others. Dr. Stewart, she cared about our future and especially our children. She didn't see them as just the next generation, but she saw them as carriers of possibilities. She poured wisdom. She shared wisdom. She shared her compassion. And she always said to me, make sure you're holding up your part, your corner of the world. She just trusted that the world could always be made better through the hands of those who came after her. I don't know, I just have so much I could say about her, but as a mentor, as a guider, as a human being, she moved with grace and unwavering commitment. She taught me that I don't have to fix everything. You just have to tend to the part that's yours. And if each of us do that, the whole world becomes brighter. Her light shined. It showed in her work. She would come to our events at Savannah U City. She would love on these children. And in her kindness, in her belief in people, and her love for the future, she knew that she would never see it, but she cared for it anyway. So today I'm honored to be here to honor her light, And the best way that I can remember her is simple. It's to let my light shine and carry forward the hope that she had. That's it.
Oh, Beverly, thank you. Ashe. Bye, Ghani. This is our Kwanzaa season. This is, the spirit of Kwanzaa. We're applying the spirit Kwanzaa right at this moment in time, right at this moment. And that's what Pat believed in strongly, is to live in this moment that we have. I had a conversation with Mark. He says, wow, but that's not easy to apply, to be fully present in this moment. When I would call her, she would say, today, this is how I'm feeling. Today is what I'm doing. Fully present and enjoying the day. That's a gift. That's really, really a strong gift. And I always keep that in mind because it really helps you marinate and enjoy your life every single day. So thank you, Beverly, for bringing that message. Sydney?
Yeah. Hey, it's actually Lauren.
Lauren, hello. How are you, Lauren?
Doing good. Taylor and Sydney's mom, Pat's her son's ex-wife. And Pat's always was a mother-in-law to me, even when we weren't married anymore. She was a great inspiration. Super grandma, always spent time with them and had them thinking about all kinds of things and helping to direct their life to be the people they are today. She did the same with me. She will be greatly missed. I'm thankful she had such a long life and a legacy. It makes us very proud. And we have a great, great woman in our cloud of witnesses now. And I will really miss Pat.
Okay.
Thank you. So good to see you, Lauren. Thank you so much for those reflections.
God bless.
Absolutely. So we have Angie Bishop. Annie Bishop, is that correct?
Ann Bishop, yes.
Ann Bishop, would you like to share?
Sure. I actually met Pat probably about a year ago.
Hold on one second. Can everybody hear? Can you pull up your volume a little bit?
Can you hear me now?
Well, maybe I think we can. Can we hear okay, right? We can hear. Go
I
ahead.
don't know what's happening with my computer. It's 12 years old, so
It's okay. Just speak up. We can hear you fine.
Okay. I met her about a year ago through some friends with Wesley Oak, which is the sister church to Asbury. And Margaret was the reason that I met her. And I didn't see her very often, but her impact on me in the few times that I got to talk to her and listen to her was profound. I thought I saw things in the right manner, and she set me straight. I had so much respect for everything she said, and I wish that I had had longer to know her. Everything that you all have said is just, in the short time that I got to spend with her, just proves the emotions that she left and the impact on me. And she challenged me and everybody in the room to start with your street corner and to make an impact and to make a change. And the shine your light, I will take for the rest of my life. Because her love for humanity was unbounding despite everything she'd been through and everything that she experienced in her life. And I will take that with me. So I'm so thankful that we crossed paths. I'm so thankful to be here and to listen to you. And I appreciate her beyond. And it's so nice to know that she's looking down on us and having probably very rich conversations up there with Jesus. So he's a lucky guy. So thank you for letting me be part of this.
Thank you so much. Yes, Jesus is a lucky guy. Oh, thank you. Tina Brown, would you like to speak?
Good evening. This is tough for me. It really is. But I remember I can't remember what year I met Dr. Stewart, but I think we were in line for SCAD's film festival, and we were talking, and the next thing we know we're both from Ohio. I was originally from Cleveland, and she knew my dad. So it just turned so quickly. She adopted me. And as she was, I called her godmother, and she called me sister, daughter, friend. And we just hung out sometimes, and that was something that was just amazing. That we talked, but she would text me when she was dissecting books, and we talked about art, and we loved both art and books. And so I think that just kept our bond to stay together. In the last 3 months, we were closer than ever because I was there when she needed it. And I mean, it's just really difficult for me to talk about the last few days of her life because I was present. And I was fighting, and she was fighting, but we knew at some point that it was God's time. And but the best thing that I'll ever remember is that she brought me home from the hospital when I had a stroke 7 years ago. And I lost all of my communications, and I couldn't speak. And I had been a journalist for 25 years, and that's all I knew what to do. And she brought me home, and she brought me to her house. Then she brought me home, and she told me that um, I couldn't talk, and I couldn't really talk anyway. But she said she gave me paper and pens, and she said just color. And I started coloring, and finally I was like, why are we doing this? And she said, it will remove the trauma on your brain. And she taught me so much about how I could recoup not only the sounds of words, speak the words, dissect the words, write the words. And because I was in graduate school getting my master's of fine arts, and I stayed with her while I was going it through, and I finished and on time. And she just gave me the ability that she could push me, and then she would push me to others. And she'd always say, whatever you learn, what you are going to teach students, she says, don't, or you're going to create a program, don't tell all of the details of what they are, because those are your intellectual property. And she used to always say that, don't give away everything. But I don't believe she did. She did the same thing. She gave away everything she had to. So I mean, I'm glad that everyone is here. Taylor and Sydney, I'm with you and with Mark. And anything that anything else you need me to do, I'll be here.
Thank you. So good to see you, Tina. Thank you for
Okay.
sharing. Yeah, absolutely. So we have Sydney, did you have your hand up?
No, it's just for my mom.
Okay, all right then. Yeah, Sydney and Taylor came out to Denver, and we hung out, had a good time. I just tried to run them crazy. I took them everywhere. We did a whole bunch of stuff, didn't we? We had a really, really good time, and I remember our time together. And Pat really appreciated, you all being out there, for all three of us being together, getting into the mountains, going over to Boulder, going out to the Red Rocks and hanging out. Real tough concert that we got a chance to hang out, and it was just good. It's a pleasure to have both of you there, and I'm glad we had that time together, for sure. Yeah, and I got a chance to see Nancy Wilson with Pat in Atlanta. We hung out. So you see Pat's been hanging out for a long time. That was she used to do. Yeah, this is just a blast. Let's see. We have some other folks that haven't been able to speak yet. Was it Rosie? are you there? Rosie Norris, or is that Ann Adams?
I am here as Rossi, and I just prefer to,
Rossi, okay.
yeah, I
Could
just
you,
prefer to listen. I'm taking in all the nuggets and only hoping that I will have as many nice people say as many nice things about me when my time comes. Pat, Pat
we can't
has,
see your face, Rosie. Can you pull your,
as long as you can hear me,
okay, that's fine.
we all have big shoes to follow. I'm in awe of Pat, and I did know her briefly. Thank you.
For sure. Thank you for being present. Is there someone else? I want to make sure again, everyone that wants to speak. Is there someone else? How Angie? Is it Angie? I don't know this. I can only see your name in your, it says Angie. Margaret, do you know that gentleman?
I see an Angie, but I think that's not Angie Jenkins. I don't know who that is.
Yeah, I don't know. Okay, well, let's keep moving forward. Jason? Is it Jason Zimmer?
And Jason
And
and August.
Billy has his hand up.
Billy?
Yeah, Billy, go ahead and if you can come back to me, that's great.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you. Yeah,
It's
Billy?
an honor to be here, everybody. I'm Billy Hester, the senior minister at Asbury Memorial and kind of over at Wesley Oak too a little bit. But I'm sorry, Sherry and I were late. Our children from New York City are here and are about to go back, and this was our only time to kind of be with them. So we were hoping we'd get to be part of this a little bit at least. And so we're glad we made it. And hope we can do something here at Asbury too in honor of Pat. But thank you all for having this, and it's good to see Sydney and Taylor and Mark and everybody, all these friends and Tina. Well, Pat scared me to death, folks. She did in a wonderful way because I knew she was going to rock the boat some, and there was a big part of me that knew the boat needed to be rocked. And sometimes she took my job for me and let me kind of sail a little bit because I knew she was strong enough to carry it for a while and to help stretch people. And of course, she was wise enough to do it in the right way. And just, she was so powerful, but she was so full of love too. I wanted to share, Margaret, has anybody shared about her last trip to Asbury? Did they know about that?
No, but why don't you? Because I wanted to make sure they knew about that.
Okay, so this was about 4 or 5 days before she died. We had a seniors luncheon at the church. It was something we started doing about 4 or 5 years ago, and Pat would always come. And Pat, of course, and some of the seniors were invited to share, and Pat always would. And it would always become a highlight of her sharing her wisdom with us. But Pat couldn't come to this one. And we have a group that come from Sun City, South Carolina, who are part of the church, but it's about 45 hour away from us. And some of them said we were hoping that Dr. Stewart would be here. I've told these people this is their first time, and but how she speaks to us at this Christmas event, and we're so disappointed. And the entertainment was there's a wonderful performer, singer here in Savannah named Huxley Scott, and Huxley was the entertainment. And Huxley sang she did about 5 or 6 songs for us. And on the last song, on the last verse, Pat rolled into the social hall. We just couldn't believe it. Tina was pushing her and rolled her in, and she was more fragile looking, and we were just all so thankful. And I was so sorry. Huxley was just finishing up, and I whispered to Huxley as she closed, I said, Pat just got here. Would you sing at least one more song? Repeat one if you have to. And so Huxley sang one of her favorites again. And then I had the microphone and I handed it to Pat. She looked frail, and expecting her just to say hello. But of course, I should have known better. She held court, y'all. I don't know where she got the energy. It was, I mean, it was a transcendent moment. It really was. In the wisdom she shared with us, it was something nobody there will ever forget. And it was almost like it was meant to be. Huxley kind of almost became the opening act for Dr. Stewart, you know, and everyone was just so grateful that she came. She had just come from a doctor's appointment, and it was a surprise to all of us. And folks, she did it. I mean, she just did her thing. And I was shocked when I got the news about how she wasn't doing so well and I went out that day to see her, and then she passed. But just 4 or 5 days before that, she held her last public um, uh, Holy Spirit anointing, wisdom that she shared in her only unique way that blessed us and blessed so many people. And I want you to know that just happened not long before she made her trip home. I wanted y'all to all to know that. It was very, very special.
Thank you.
Thank you, for sure. So Tina, did you said those remarks that she made at church was recorded?
Yeah, I took photos and I recorded most of her speech, which was a wonderful speech about reminding how it's important in Savannah to acknowledge the history throughout the city and all of the people who need to be recognized. And it was a great speech, and I do have a clip from it, so I can send it.
Yeah, I mean, you can share that with Sydney and Taylor and Lauren, share it with the family. That would be great. I'm sure that they would love to hear that
Sherry,
and
do you
and to
have a
keep that.
copy of it also? Sherry, do you have a copy? It was a spontaneous thing, so I
I'm
was
pretty
so
sure I
surprised.
have some of it. I'm pretty sure I have to go look, but I was videotaping it as well. I have to go check. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Reverend Hester. Reverend Billy. Thank you very much. I've had the opportunity to visit your church several times when I was in Savannah, and I really enjoyed the service very, very much so. Very live. Loved it. Jason?
August,
Go
Jason,
ahead,
August.
Margaret.
No, I just saw Jason and August, and I didn't know if you'd seen the comment. They wanted to
Hi.
speak.
Oh,
Hello, everyone. Thank you for giving me a chance to speak, and thank you for sharing all of these wonderful stories. Dr. Pat Stewart became my friend in 2023 when I was doing my CPE for seminary. And I would began by calling her, and we talked on the phone, and we talked about some of our favorite books. One was Jesus and the Disinherited by Howard Thurman. And I began to go and visit her, and we would watch church together, church from Chicago. Um, and I took her. We know she always loved desserts, so lemon desserts was one of those things. I asked our friend Tom Lewis to make a dessert for her that he had given to Jason and I. It was a lemon dessert, and she texted me a prayer to give to Tom, and I wonder if I may share it with y'all. It says, "To Tom, the power of love for me is a soul to hand gift, and yours to me was prepared, wrapped in the first two commandments. The lemon tort was such a Jesus call to bless and make grace-filled sweetness move throughout my body. And this is the embodiment of my childhood, singing, yes, Jesus loves me, to open the final session of summer children's school. Today, the sweetness, the dessert is a Jesus thank you from 90 plus years ago. Your grace keeps me going on.
Ah, that's beautiful.
Hmm.
So beautiful. Thank you.
I went back through my text messages with Dr. Pat, and she gave me so many books to read while I was in seminary. I didn't get to read them all. So I went back and ordered the rest of them. One of them arrived the day before Christmas, and I'll be reading these books and keeping her library with me for the rest of my life.
Ah, thank you. So special. Thank you, Jason. Thank you for those remarks. So special. And then we have Ann Adams. Ann, would you like to share?
Thank you. I'm sorry, I'm not camera ready today, but because I wasn't planning to talk at all.
Can you turn up your volume?
Okay, let me
If not, just kind of speak up a little bit. There you go.
okay. As I said, I wasn't planning to speak at all. I was planning just to listen to others who knew and loved Pat. But now I do want to say a couple of things. My friendship with Pat goes back about 50 years. We were colleagues, not in the same department, but both on the faculty at Kent State University when she was living in Akron. And so that is the time when I knew Pat. I had, did not, I was not with her so much after she moved from that area. I moved from the area myself, but we've certainly been in touch. And more recently, Pat has been a participant in a monthly Zoom group of Fisk alumni women in my class, the class of 1963 from Fisk. We are therefore all about a decade or so younger than Pat, but as everybody here knows, Pat had friends in every generation. But she was invited to be a participant in our group by another classmate who I want everybody to know was very attentive to Pat in her last years, and that's Barbara Chapman, who lives in Atlanta. I know that Barbara would travel periodically to Savannah and assist with many of the things in Pat's life in her last couple of years. And Barbara invited Pat to be a participant in our Fisk monthly Zoom group. We have been doing it for about, well, since COVID started. So whenever that is, we we have been doing that. And Pat says, even though I am not a Fiskite, Mark graduated from Fisk, so therefore I feel, I paid money to Fisk, so I definitely have a Fisk University. And so she was a member of our group and participated with us every month on Zoom up until the last several months of her life. And she, nobody else in the group had known her except Barbara Chapman and me when she joined us. But she was an inspiration and a wise participant in our group, and we will definitely miss her. So I am grateful to be able to share my recollections with Pat, both from her days at Kent State and more recently, and also I'm glad for this opportunity to put Barbara Chapman's name on the table there, because she worked very loyally with Pat's family in her last couple of years. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing, and we appreciate that. That's for sure. And Barbara's not on here, but we're recording this, so I'm sure that the family will make sure that Barbara has a copy of this. I'll make sure that she receives a copy of the gathering, the story circle this evening, for sure. And Anne, would you like to speak?
Yes, thank you. I'm trying to remember when Pat and I first got acquainted, and I think it was at Cure that we were part of this organization that the acronym was for Connecting and Understanding Racial Equity. And she recognized that in me that I was kind of a social activist for race relations. And we enjoyed lunch together, but there was also a way, I call it Pat speak. And I often have to consult with Margaret for, can you give me a translation for what she was trying to tell me? Yeah, she was extraordinary, and I wish I could keep up with her. And I was blessed to have visited with her in her last week of life, and I would not have guessed for a minute that she was that close to death. She was spunky and spry, and we talked about Panhandle Slim, his billboards and messages that she had in her apartment with her and out in the hallway. And again, she was trying to have me understand what some of those messages were. Some of it just flipped right over my head. She was really remarkable. We were talking about her books, and now, as a tribute to Pat, I will make it a point to take one in because she kept talking about it, and I just looked it up, and I'm pretty sure that this is the one that she was referring to. Holding Up Your Corner, talking about race in your community by F. Willis Johnson. And that was really important to her, and she spread that message. Just take care of your corner. So I will take that to heart and read it, and thank you for letting me share.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing. And yes, and so good to share the literature that Pat loved and that guided her practice and her work, and how she shared that with each one of us in different ways, and also to put that information in the chat so that way we can access this literature that she valued so greatly. Let's see, I'll make sure. Elder Ned Williams, are you there?
Sure. Uh, I think Ann said it. I think Ann said it in the word with the word extraordinary. So Pat was the person that was adamant, but not really combative. And she was a person that was intolerant of things that she thought was wrong. It's just, you couldn't move away from it. If she had an issue with something, it had to be, I don't know about the resolve piece, but it had to be addressed. And so that's one of the things that impressed me about her. But what stands out when I think about Pat is sometimes you encounter people that everyone feels the same way about them that you do. And that could be negative or positive. And Pat is a person that every person that I know who knew her spoke of her with superlatives. You didn't often meet everyone. Yeah, everyone. I've never met anybody that knew her that didn't speak of her with superlative. Oh, great, wonderful, awesome. All this, I'm thinking, wow. I'm grateful to have been a part of her life, to be touched by her. And I think what we can do, in addition to the praises that we have for Pat Stewart, is to honor her by being like her. that we live our lives in such a way that if they knew her, they would see her in us and the way we lived, the way we carried ourselves. So again, I'm just really happy to be a part of this.
Yes, Elder Williams, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, where you live and how
I'm sorry. I live in Savannah, Georgia.
Anything else you'd like to share?
Pat and I have been engaged with different projects and activities, but it is consistent with everything else that we've heard so far. That again, it's rare that you meet folks that the opinion you have of them is the opinion. I know folks that I have hold in high esteem, and I can meet people that don't hold them in high esteem. I have people that I think, they are problematic, and then someone thinks of them as awesome. But I don't know about other folks, but I've never encountered anyone that begins, once you mention her name, what comes out of their mouth is a superlative. That's something.
Ashe. Ashe. Thank you, Elder Williams. Appreciate that for sure. You got that right. Anyone else like to share that I want to miss anyone? Is anyone else?
Can I just
Please, yes.
yeah,
Speak up.
I just want to in my last remarks of appreciation and love for Dr. Pat, share this with you all. Dear God, into our hands, O merciful Savior, we commend your servant, Dr. Patricia Stewart. We humbly beseech you, a sheep of your own fold, a lamb of your own flock, a sinner of your own redeeming. Receive her into the arms of your mercy, into the blessed rest of everlasting peace, and into the glorious company of your saints in light. May her soul and the souls of all the departed, through the mercy of you, glorious Lord, rest in peace. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jacqueline, for sharing that. That's so very powerful. I got a chance to speak with Pat a week before she passed. And here's some remarks that she said to me. Yeah, we had one of our, regular rich conversations that we all always have. But she let me know that she was going to be moving into hospice. So she was listening to the intake that the hospice person was sharing with her person who was Power of Health. And one of the things that she said she was very impressed with, and she was sharing this with me because she knows that I do a lot of consulting work with organizations. She said that, I was very impressed when the woman who was the hospice assessment person said, well, the person that had the Power of Health asked the person who was doing the assessment, what is it that you don't do well? That's a Pat Stewart question. Pat says she was blown away when that question was asked to the hospice assessment person. What is it that you don't do well? And I said, well, I got that. She said, we talking. She said, are you taking notes? I said, of course I am. She said, I want you to send those notes back to me. So I was able to record those notes. And some of her additional reflections were belonging and action, inclusion, energy, accountability to the self. She said, I don't want people calling up asking me what's wrong. I want to have a good conversation, and engage. And I want to keep my zest. That's what I want to do. I don't want anything about what's wrong with me. I remember times when I got discouraged, and I started going off. She was saying, like, Deborah, listen, we're not going to stay ain't it awful. It ain't going to stay in ain't it awful. Okay. So I always keep that in mind. And I share that with my students as well. We ain't going to stay in ain't it awful. And now I'm going to talk about what is that you don't do well? Those kind of prolific questions. Okay. And then she also talked about how do we hold on to our inner life? That's a Pat Stewart question. Climbing Jacob's ladder, biblical. How do I hold on? How do I keep dancing? She kept talking about dancing, and she said, don't let anyone, people, place, or thing interrupt your dance. Don't let anyone interrupt your dance. So these are Pat Stewart prolific kinds of questions and reflections, as we all know of. But this is what she's sharing with me. She said, who, what, and why is interrupting my dance? I want my friends to call and have rich, meaningful conversations versus asking me what is wrong. She said, may I be some help to you? She talked about zest. She talked about land, water, sea, sky, zestfulness, spirit, zest for life, wellness within my soul, wellness moving into zest, pie in the sky, wellness with my soul. She said, may I lay me down to sleep. Baby Suggs in the clearing, call people in inviting them into the clearing, the creation for safe space to open your heart. Jesus had zest when he healed the masses of people. She said, did you capture those words? I said, I got every last one of them, and I'm sending them all back to you. That's my sister mother friend. And the last time I saw her, at the Oaks, she walked me out to the parking lot. It was getting dark, and I was saying, "Do you want to walk out here?" She said, "Yeah." She walked out to the parking lot in the dark because I was getting ready to drive back to my friend's house where I was staying. So she grabbed my left hand where I wear my mother's diamond ring. She held onto my mother's diamond ring, and she said to me, "You hold on to your mother." Because she knew my mother a lot. She didn't know her personally, but she met my mother through me, and she knew that my mother wanted me to connect with her. Because I told her, I said, my mother, you helped me to be the woman that my mother wanted me to be. That's what I told her. I said, my mother, because I lost my mother when I was 27. I said, but my mother knew that you would support me on the journey. That's the kind of connection that I had. But we look at all the meaningful connections that we were able to hear tonight, you all. And she told me, spiritually, she said, you did good, Dad. That's good. You did good, you know? So she already affirmed our circle tonight. She's done that. She co-facilitated this. And so, it doesn't get any better than this going into the new year, you all. We've been so blessed with her spirit and wisdom and scholarship and activism. We have her. So we're going to be moving forward. And as someone said so prolifically, passing the torch. We're going to do our work on our corners. We all have our corners. We're going to keep doing our work, and making a difference. Because we've seen a serious elder model that in our lives. So Taylor, did you have some remarks?
Yes, I did. I was writing, but I just had to write down little things that was coming up. I was like, I'm trying to make it flow, but then I felt grandma be like, just blabble like you do. So I did want to start off sharing some of the top memories with my grandma Pat. Um, Grandma Pat dressed in layers, textures, colors. It always had a purpose. It was always on point. It always you know, fit the agenda, the mission. You know, she also communicated in layers. She studied in layers. I love how somebody said, Pat talk. She had been talking. She has been speaking to me in Pat talk since before I could talk. My grandma always said, I didn't speak until like 3. My grandma also shared with me, like, she's pretty sure she had some type of dyslexia. And I feel like I've also kind of where the tongue can feel stuck. So you get through it through reading and writing and art. Kind of how Tina shared when she was helping Tina recover from her stroke. Um, I I just don't even know how to wrap my head around her. Um, she just has so many lifetimes. And it's funny how somebody said superlatives every time you mention her. Whenever I was like, I'm Taylor Stewart, Dr. Patricia Stewart's granddaughter, people are like, you are so lucky. Like, but that's like one of my biggest flex. Okay. Like, that's my grandmother. And even though like the bloodline, her immediate family was remaining is just my brother, her son Mark, my dad, and man, did she like weave a network of family, of love around, us, through just making connections. Every hand I see that hands keeps coming up. My grandma's hands were touched many souls. And it's funny because one of my favorite memories with her is we would squeeze back and forth, our hands back and forth. We would hold hands everywhere and we just take turns squeezing back and forth. And she has this book here that she has written into smithereens. Oh, it's called The Particulars of Rapture, Reflections on Exodus. And I was looking through some of her notes trying to decipher Pat talk, as we say, my grandma's writing. And one of her notes in here, um, she mentions, it says here, to have healthy hands is to be able to say, we made do. And my grandma made do with everything. And I'm trying to like channel her grace because she lost her firstborn son, my Uncle Butchie. He died a year before I was born in 95. That was my dad's big brother. And then she got two grandkids, and Sydney was a lot like Uncle Butchie, and I'm a lot like my dad. I swear I'm his karma. Like, but we were talking about the fire she had and kind of how she would rock the boat. But she did it in a way like you would walk off, like I would walk off and I'd be like, did it? Like, dang, she just kind of told in the best way possible. She will read you down, really give you a psychoanalyst, and have you thinking for the next 2 weeks without yelling, without raising a voice, without cursing. And I always compare myself to like how the Obama anger translator. There's that skit where the guy from Key and Peele, I forget what the name of the event is, but basically where Obama brings up what is that event? Thank you. Who knows? The event where it's the inauguration, not the inauguration, but the commencement where they're joking. Um, the president has, basically they say some jokes and stuff, and then he's like Obama's anger translator, and he's saying what he really wants to say, but he can't professionally because his title. And I always think about grandma's title as a PhD. She used that as a tool. Like and her commitment to learning never stopped when she got that degree. Like it never stopped. Her library was huge. Her knowledge was huge. Her memory was sharp. And her network was large. And so I feel like I have big shoes to fill, but I do want to say one thing that I spoke with my grandma about before she passed was, um, she was talking about getting cremated, and that she, she didn't want people to really mourn in that sense. I was like, well, Grandma, everybody's going to see you. We're going to have to see your body. And she's like, I'm not trying to have everybody see my body, man. She's like, what I would like is to have a birthday party, and just a celebration. She said, y'all have a birthday party for me, and just like her 95th. And then she said, I'm going to sleep. And I said, Jesus loves you. And that's the last time I spoke with her. But I was able to hang on to her last breath. And I'm still taking all this in. But I do want to let off on some good memories real quick. Dressing up in her closet, plain dress up. She had the best clothes. Her grilled cheese and tomato soups. Playing hooky at her house. Going to go eat grilled cheese and tomato soup. She knew a few good meals, but that was one of her top ones. Peach yogurt, turkey sausage, McDonald's coffee. Sundays at White Bluff Methodist, and then later on Asbury. Sydney and I, we would sit in the back pews and we would sleep in her lap the whole the whole the whole time. Eating donuts afterwards, trips to Barnes and Noble, consignment shops downtown, TJ Maxx, the Cinching Bean, the smell of tennis balls in her garage. When she had the Volkswagen Bug, we would get down to the stop sign and me and Cindy would be like, Superman, Superman. And my grandma would go from like 20 to 70 feet down the thing, and we would have a ball. She would let down the roof. And I think that's squeezing her hands, of course. Oh, and I had to share this. My grandma knew me better than anyone. And she was able to, I just had this one funny memory. The one time I ran a golf cart into a lake at my dad's second wedding. And I fell into my grandma's arms. She was my safe space. I immediately knew where to go for safety, where everybody would back up. And they said it looked like the Michelangelo painting where Adam's like laid out in the lap. And I was safe. And everybody's like, you're lucky. So that was often just things that I think about with my grandma, even though, she was very honest, very transparent with me. I don't think she ever would justify me doing anything, out of character. But I was also her grandbaby, so my dad, there were things that I realize now that she, in some of her writings, knew that I am learning through life, and I feel like I had big shoes to fill, and now I see kind of how Aunt Margaret was saying, you can now see a different perspective of my grandma now. And none of this is making sense, but I'm gonna leave it at that.
Thank you, Taylor. And
Thank you.
Yes, Taylor, thank you so much. You gave us a good flavor of, life with her grandchildren, everyday life. Thank you so much for that. And she wants you to fill your shoes and do your work on your corner, to stay in your corner and do your work. That's what she showed you. And that's what she would wish for you, that you do your work and you fill your shoes. So we're moving toward the end of our circle. Did you hear me? You hear Aunt Deborah? Did you hear me? We're moving toward the end of our circle. There's no words to describe the richness. One of the things Pat also said to me as we were talking, she said, Jesus had zest when he healed the masses of people. That was one of her comments that she made that I had copied and sent it back to her. And so we opened up the circle tonight. And I just want to say thank you for everyone that's participated, whether you voiced your reflections or you just listened, but to be in this circle tonight, thank you on behalf of Dr. Patricia Stewart and her family. And then we're going to close out with a ritual. We opened with the ritual. We're going to close out with the ritual. And I want to wish everyone a blessed New Year's full of gratitude and most importantly, full of love. So Pat Gunn, would you and Roz like to close us out with the ritual?
It would be our honor. Dr. Patricia Stewart has passed our way. She always talked about the race for endurance. And so in the chat, I've left a message about the conversation that we last had with her on December the 8th. She said, you have to run your race with endurance towards your spiritual guide, but run your race with righteousness. She also talks a lot about the cloud of witnesses that we have gathered around us when we do work. So she's always been there to witness our victories, if you think about it. She's always been a fabric in our lives, all of us. And so just know that she does now belong to the ages, but she's always going to be around us because she has now entered our ancestral cloud of witnesses, Hebrew 12:1. And so we say, hey na 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 na, hey na, hey na na, hey na na, hey na, hey na, hey na na, hey na na, hey na, hey na, hey na, na. Rest in power.
Thank you.
Ashe, Ashe. Enjoy Kwanzaa, you all.
Ashe.
Blessed New Year's. We're up and out of the circle now.
Oh,
So
blessings.
I'm not going to close this out because if we want to have some conversation, which is crosstalk, and we don't have crosstalk during the circle, but we can have it now if you like to share anything, we can have a conversation. So
I did want to add really quick that we do plan, we're thinking sometime around February during Black History Month, to definitely have a celebration of life and gathering and hold space for each other in person. Asbury so kindly, what's it called? Said we can use their space, but we're still planning. We're still going, obviously, just trying to still transition with everything. But I just wanted to put that out there. This would be the first of many gatherings for everybody who loved and cherished my grandma. And we're hoping to do something in person so we can all hug and, be in physical space. But the
thank you.
virtual was just as nice.
Nice. Thank you,
Thank
Taylor. And I know that Pat Gunn, the Jubilee Center, Pat shared with me that Dr. Stewart was the chair of the board for the Jubilee Susie King Taylor Jubilee Center. She was the chairman of the board, and the board wants to do a celebration of life for Dr. Stewart. Pat, and also a scholarship fund. Would you like to share a little more about that, Pat?
Yes, briefly, we are going to commemorate on February 10th, 2026, the annual celebration of the naming of the new square, Taylor Square. Dr. Pat was one of our biggest influences, and so we want to have the beginning of every February 10th issue out a scholarship in Dr. Pat Stewart's name. And so we look forward to talking to her family about it and the details, but we think that to continue to say her name, she was all about education. And so we'd like to offer a scholarship, a program in her name under the Center for Jubilee, our honor. Absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Thank
And
you.
we have email addresses and we've all been in contact. So as things unfold, we can get messages out to everyone. um, around other kinds of celebrations for our beloved Dr. Patricia Stewart. Any other kinds of things you'd like to share
Yeah.
before we close out?
Yeah, I just wanted to say this is Marilyn Mobley. Taylor, if I can help in any way with that service, I would love to be able to help you and Sydney and your dad if I can
Yes,
be
please.
of help. And the other thing I want to say is just thank you, Dr. Wilcox and Margaret. This has blessed me so, just to hear references and statements about her. And I agree with you, Taylor, that her life had texture to it. And things she said to us is going to stay with us for years to come. Years to come. I have notes everywhere from conversations with her. So I'm just grateful for this chance. Peace and blessings to all of you. I have to go now, but thank you so much.
Thank you, you all, for
May
sure.
I make a comment?
Yes, please, Margaret.
I think it was less than a month ago. Pat was so excited. I came in to see her and she says, "Oh, I have to show you this." And she showed me this children's book. She says, "I've decided I'm going to start a children's collection. I have to collect children's books." And she started talking about this one book, and it's all about words. And she was just going on, and she was so animated. And I just, she just lived every single day of her life, always learning, and I know she didn't talk about it a lot, but she lived with pain. And but she wouldn't, she wouldn't complain, she wouldn't say anything. She did tell me one time, she says, "Margaret, I don't mind dying, but I just don't know where to put this pain." She always had a way of saying things. But then she said, "But when I talk to other people, it gets my mind off of that." And so I thought, when I didn't know what to say to her, because I knew her world was getting really small, I'd say, "Well, what have you been reading today?" Well, then, this huge conversation would ensue, and she'd be, all brightened up. And but she's just always curious, always learning, always just couldn't get. I mean, she almost never left her apartment, and I'd go in and she'd tell me the whole ecosystem of the whole place there. "Well, this is what's going on, and somebody died today, and the staff aren't doing that, and nobody's cooking dinner." It's like she never went anywhere, and she always knew what was going on. So I don't know, she was just remarkable. But just that fact that she just was always asking, "How are you? And what's going on with you?" And what a model.
Oh, no question. And imagination and curiosity, the print that she's given me that I have in the house here is a little girl that's actually looking down the ground with curiosity and imagination. That was key for her, that we all have it and how to utilize it and to be in the present moment with curiosity and imagination.
Right.
So therefore, how can you stay in any and awful? When you have the gift of creativity and curiosity, how can you stay in Ain't It Awful? When you have all of this big world of imagination, and being curious, it was that kind of spirit that was every day, you know. Just like she said, don't let nobody interrupt your dance. We all got to dance. Don't let nobody interrupt it.
Yeah.
Do your dance, get in your corner and dance, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was oh man, we did some wild stuff. We did work at Harvard. We did workshops one workshop at Harvard in health and wellness and mental health because she was very much a champion in peer support, mental health peer support, where peers with people with lived experience at the grassroots level would come together and support each other in mental health and wellness. She was not into the psychology of the medical model in pharmaceutical, into hierarchy. She was not into classism. She was into a collaborative spirit of collective learning and knowing. And when we did workshops, that's what we always facilitated, how to come together in an egalitarian way, a way of collective sharing and collective knowing. That kind of pedagogy. That's the kind of educator she was, and also mental health practitioner. So the Alliance for Rights and Recovery, it used to be the National Association for Psychiatric Rehabilitation Association. I belonged to it. We gave her an award, a champion award, for she identified as a peer. I am a peer. There's no we, they in this. Because I'm a psychologist does not make me separated from the peer community. I am a peer. We are a peer. I am because we are, therefore I am.
Yeah.
That was the Ubuntu of mental health. I am because we are, and because we are, therefore I am. We are one. We are one. That's the spirit of that Pat has left. Everyone on this circle tonight heard it, and people who are not in the circle, they have it because they had that individualized relationship with her. Everyone
I,
was
I,
a
I
yes.
think my daughter Imani has her hand raised.
Oh, Imani, yes, come in, Imani.
Hello,
Faith,
everyone. I'm
Faith.
Imani Gunn.
Hey,
I would like
Imani.
to, hi. I would like to just say thank you, first of all, for this circle and this gathering. Um, as I am in the last trimester of pregnancy at the beginning of my journey, I thought very much of Dr. Pat. Um, honestly, I cannot remember when I met her because I'm sure Taylor would know. I probably was a little girl. But I know as an adult, I have been able to experience Dr. Pat's legacy in a different way. My fondest memory, my last memories of her would have been last year. We were completing a rites of passage for children, inner city, and I attended, I think it was her birthday party. And seeing her with her family, talking and sharing about her life journey, and watching everyone just listen to her so attentively, her stories and her collective knowledge that she knows about, just brought a joy to me. Definitely as a person, but now going into motherhood at the beginning of my journey, I thought about Dr. Pat, and how I sat with her when I became a doula and talk to her about wombology and the metamorphosis of creating epigenic relations and wellness within infancy of pregnancy. And as we talked about these things, I journeyed into wanting to do a home birth and had Dr. Pat literally in my mind sitting here with me in this space, not knowing that she wouldn't be here physically, but still definitely here in spirit. Um, so I'm definitely grateful because what I've taken is definitely her legacy that is powerful. But for me as a new mom, I've taken the abundance of just being the grandmother and having the family figure and the model that it shows you how you can live a full life, have friends, families, loved ones, and still be creative and still have so much love at such an older age. I don't even have the words to actually put it into a synopsis, but I definitely will hold her in my heart forever. So I thank you all for all the things that you have shared. And as someone else said, Taylor, if you ever need anything, just let me know. I'm definitely available. But thank you, Dr. Deborah, and thank you to my mom for introducing me to Dr. Pat in new ways also.
Well, Imani, congratulations on your new motherhood.
Congrats,
And then,
Imani.
and then,
Thank you. I'll be
Pat,
reaching out.
you got a new grandbaby coming.
Yes, I do.
All right.
So excited.
Blessings. Yes,
Thank you
absolutely.
all for all the sharing you've done. It's been really wonderful. And so, I'm hoping to let me know when other things happen. Okay, thank you, Deborah.
Oh, yeah, thank you. Dr. Carmichael, it was so good to see you.
Good to
It's
see you
really
too,
good to see
Dr.
you.
Wilcox.
Wish you
All
all
right,
the best in the new year, and we'll stay connected for
you
sure.
too. You too.
All right. Peace and blessings.
Peace and blessings to you.
Thank you. Anyone else have any comments before we close out the circle? We've already closed out the circle, but we're just having conversation. Anything on your heart that you want to share? I'm open to keep it open. Well, this has just been awesome. I mean, totally awesome. Juanita.
I think
Sorry.
I just wanted to share like just something more like that's been kind of struggling with this grieving. I've experienced loss and I've been learning what grief is this year. My high school sweetheart, and one of my close friends, Leon, was killed at the beginning of the year, and then I lost, relationships during the middle, and then grandma. And I also I feel very like I go between this like anger because of how Margaret was saying too, and as we know, like the pain, grandma, like it
Yeah.
just it's very difficult for me to like I just wish there's some part of me that I'm like, man, I wish I was just as strong to be able to um sit in pain and be in pain. Like I was just so upset seeing that because of course I thought grandma was gonna live to 110. She should have. And I'm still in that kind of stage right now where I'm like, well, if this would happen, if this would happen, and I know she wouldn't want me to shoulda, woulda, coulda, and I know she's just in such a glorious place right now with her son. But just thinking about that too, like how she sat with Uncle Butchie through pain, and she's like just known what pain is for a very long time. It's just like losing her dad at 11. I don't know. It's just certain things that just make me sad. I'm very angry. Um, she was just so resilient, and um, God, I just wish I could like just hold her like a little baby. And I don't know, I just wanted to share that. I'm like going through like these stages. Like my first reaction was like literally about to curse out the people at the assisted living because it's all mold and event. And everybody was like, okay, because I was like, that was the last lady. That was the last person on earth holding me back, holding this tongue back. But then, of course, she left a bunch of aunts and uncles and all y'all people that care about me too. So can't get away with just wilding out. Deborah had to check me the other day, so I don't know. I'm not getting away with it, but I just wanted to share that. And I know my dad's struggling too.
Yeah, well, you know what? You're
Just
gonna be,
stay close.
everybody here will keep you in prayer, Taylor. And your grandmother will want you to embrace yourself and what you're feeling. With everything you're feeling, just embrace it. It's natural and normal. And we've all lost loved ones and parents and children, everyone here in this circle here tonight. And we know it ain't easy. It's nothing easy about death, but it's also a cycle of life. We come from spirit, we go home to spirit, homegoing. We have homegoing, and so we're never ready for that. And whatever you're feeling, feel it, embrace it. Don't try to hide it. Just be whatever comes up for you, but you got support. You got a lot of folks that you can reach out to. You know that. So use your support systems and take care of yourself. That's what your grandmother will want you to do is self-care. This is time to take care of Taylor.
You're absolutely right.
Okay?
Right.
All right. So you're not alone at all. You're in community, okay? You got all kinds of folks.
That was her greatest gift.
There you go. Left you the web for community, right?
Right.
Yeah. We love you, sweetheart. And
Love you too.
Juanita, did you have a comment that you wanted to say?
Had a query.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure I was going to be able to do this for the whole time, the 2 hours. But once it began, I just had to be here through the whole thing. And I'm wondering, because I know this was recorded, is there any way that you can share this experience?
Absolutely. We could share that. I know I'm going to give this to the family, and I'm sure that Taylor, and Sydney and them would be open to that. I'll ask them that, and if they say yes, then I'll make sure you have it. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
For sure.
There was so much wisdom in this experience.
Yes.
I really appreciate it.
Okay, and I really appreciate seeing you and glad you were here in the circle. because we have such
Thank you.
rich experience together for sure.
Yes, we do.
Yes, we do. Oh, you all, okay, I'm going to be,
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Somebody tell me about Bootsy.
Bootsy?
Yeah.
You
It's
mean
like her nickname or something?
Oh, Boots.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
boots.
Boots. You know, the
Boots.
story
I
of
think she
Boots?
got that in college, right? Because she would
Yeah,
wear these boots.
yeah. And her husband used to call her Boots. And because they went to Virginia State together, they were undergraduate students. So she wore boots all the time. So he nicknamed her Boots. So that was
Okay.
okay.
Oh, okay. All
Yeah,
right. I always wonder about that.
yeah. See how friends, they know those stories, you know.
That's right.
Right,
That's
right.
right.
And then
Okay.
Patty came from Taylor was a grandmother. Her grandmother called her Patty. They called, her family called her Patty. So when she
Patty,
started
yeah.
to, get, into her 90s, early, she started saying, hey, I want to be Patty now. And I thought about my experience with Pat. When we talk about the rites of passage, we all go through it. It's the circle of life. Life is like a circle. It's not linear in the Western context. Like you born, live, and die. No, it's circular. We come in and we go right back home. But we go home before we leave spirit. I learned that through Pat and my other ancestors. And I'm learning that through my own life. I'm going back to all the stuff that I used to do and love, and I'm dancing in that. I'm just, because it's almost like you get back to your core self again. It's a beautiful thing. It's a circle of life. That's very much a rites of passage from traditional cultures. Oh, they understood that. They understood the circle of life. It wasn't a Western disconnect. It was about spirit. It was about coming into spirit and then living out,
Yes.
being responsible through your
Yes.
development through the life cycle and going home to spirit.
Yes.
That's the
Mhm.
celebration of life. And
Mhm.
I did my research in that area, and then, like I said, Pat and I did a lot of workshops around rites of passage. And now I'm moving forward, and I'm going to finish up my book, and I'm doing work in that area. And I've got a couple. Pat Gunn has introduced me to a videographer, and also another young man who is a videographer, and they're into documentaries. We're going to put together a documentary on the rites of passage and get it out into communities because elders have a responsibility. Just like we're with Taylor this evening, elders have a responsibility to pass the wisdom on. And
Yes.
we don't
Yes.
have a youth problem. What stimulated my wanting to do this work was when Paul Hill out of Cleveland said in my class, we don't have an elderhood problem. He did some work throughout Africa and, Australia and Brazil, looking at rites of passage kinds of rituals that were left in this, 21st century, 20th, end of the 20th century, into the early 21st century. He said, we got an elderhood problem in the West. The elders, we don't have elder identity. So we're not passing on the wisdom of our lived experience. So where are young people supposed to get it?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So
Yes.
that's why I went on back to, I'm teaching at Wilberforce. I'm blessed to be able to be with at a historical Black college. I am a Fiskite, and I'm proud of that. And I pass on the wisdom that has given me to the students. You see, because we had a conversation about mentoring. I said, you all have to get some mentors. I said, so let's have a discussion about what a mentor is. So we did all of that. And then I said to them, I said, do we choose our mentors or do our mentors choose us? Let's have a conversation about that. So I talked about Pat being one of my mentors and other mentors I've had. My mother was a mentor, I had other mentors. And each one of those mentors have a prolific impact on your life and your development. So they start to talk about some of their mentors. I said, did we choose them or did they choose us? So it's like, I don't know, but the relationships just kind of developed. That's spirit. That's spirit. People come into our lives because the Creator sends them to us. I
Yes.
see
Yes.
Joanne.
Yes.
Yes. Did you want to say something? Introduce yourself. You just came in.
Yeah, I know. I just heard about Pat's this program here that's going on right now. I really wasn't a close friend of Pat's, but I knew her, and when I was in her presence, I felt like I was getting her undevoted attention. And as I said, I just found out about, her passing. I didn't even know it, but even just the few minutes I've been listening now, uh, just it just warms my heart. My husband just passed about 7 months ago, and now I am, finally feeling like, okay, I am an elder, and what can I pass on, to the young people that I am in contact with, and I'm learning so much. Learning so much in just these past 7 months about the cycle, like you said, the cycle of life, and that spirit to me never dies. Spirit just takes another form. But so I appreciate what you've said so far. I'm sorry I got well. I was told I shouldn't apologize, so I won't apologize.
Right.
But I'm glad I'm here.
Yeah, I'm glad you shared. Thank you very much. Because this is what's up. Any workshops that we've ever done around elderhood and spirituality and wisdom and rites of passage, it just creates these wonderful conversations, and people start to say, wow, I got work to do, you know? And so, I'm saying that about myself. I got to get busy with what I got to do, to get this out here because, because. I mean, because it's, like I tell students, I said, it's not about a job and a career. Life ain't about no job and no career. I said, it's
No.
about finding your purpose. I said,
Yes.
once you find your purpose, you're going to make good money. You're going to enjoy what you do, and you're going to help humanity and make a difference. But if you're running around here thinking about career is everything, you got an empty life because
So
it's not going to
true.
serve you. What's going to serve you is your purpose. And that's what the rites of passage is all about, for young people to find that purpose. Because we're all here for a reason. All we got to do is get still and ask God, what is that you have me do? It's like we all got, individually, we all got a calling. But we live in a country that has classisms. People are here and people are here. Racism,
Literally.
superiority over people here, inferiority. That's all we dance. We dancing with that all the time. One up here, one down here. That's in our lexicon. We have to diffuse that.
On Deborah, I want to say literally one of the last pieces of advice grandma gave me. And she'll just drop it. It wasn't like, oh, what should I do? I was like, I need to get I'm stressing about getting this job, and that's what my focus. She's like, just wait to get it. Just wait. You don't need one right now. She just said it as simple as that, and it was so calming. It took me out of this urgency and this like time, this rush. Like put me
Yeah.
back in my body, like
Yeah. Relax and let stuff happen rather than make stuff
right.
happen.
And I now
Relax.
like I have so many other ideas that I do want to focus on, but yeah, it's just interesting, like the concept of time also being like a white supremacist
Oh, yeah.
thing,
And the
rushing
calendar.
and
The calendar.
right.
That's why we have people be talking, oh, I'm old, and young people don't want to listen. They don't, they off someplace else. And, because the students tell me, well, the elders don't respect us. That's what some of the students, the elders don't respect us. I said, okay, well, let's talk about that. And then I have elders say, well, I'm old and they ain't gonna listen to me, and they're off the chain. And I said, listen, this has to stop. This is out of order. This is not order. This is not spiritual order.
I feel like a big part of that when I'm thinking, because it's interesting because I was laughing. I just saw this video, kind of made me chuckle, but I mean, it's obviously tragic. It was, you know, a news segment interview, and it was anchor. She was interviewing a neighbor about and just informing them that the suspect of the shooting of the killing was like a 12-year-old girl. He was like his first reaction was immediately like, where are the adults? Like, where were the parents? Like, that's the first, and he was just baffled. And it made me, as my grandma on my mom's side would say, like, I wasn't laughing because it was funny. I was tickled by the audacity because you know how us Black people react. It was like that's where were the adults? Like, what's going on? And I do feel like our generation, specifically, like maybe the millennials, Gen Z, we're having not only are like I feel like our parents maybe not stunting us, but a lot of us are just now realizing we're adults, grown at 30.
Oh, I
You
know.
know,
I
yeah,
know.
like we're just because you know not only is our economy not really the standards we're looking at the past generations, like these are the milestones for adulthood, you know, out the house, career, already mortgage, you know, et cetera, kids married. And I think a lot of us aren't seeing that. So what else is there to measure the adulthood? Mine is consequences of my actions. Realizing, you know, nobody else, my choices are my choices. And but I just am it took till like my dad was in the hospital and I like had to step into a caregiver role and you know, grandma was in the assisted living and there was like nobody else, you know, for me to be like, oh, it's time to be a big girl. And so now I just went through that. So if I was to like little kids, yes, I wouldn't, obviously, I'm no elder. I don't know what age that would be like, you know, 70, but I guess I have to be I could be a mentor. I have to be a example. I don't have to, but I will carry myself around children, you know, the next generation. I have started to feel protective of children now and see that they are the hope and future, and I see the importance of that. But that took a lot of like kind of, I don't know how we get to a point where we can stop. I feel like a lot of our generation's feeling like hurt or not as nurtured to into adulthood, if that
That's
makes
right.
sense.
You're not initiated.
Right. And so like one of my friends with parents that are like 40, 50s who would be drinking with us in the basements, you know, and like still going out, they're supposed to be in those spaces, but they're still kind of it's just a very interesting time. I don't know what's gonna wake up.
Yeah, well, it is a very interesting time. And, you know, I remember my parents said, well, we ain't going downtown no more because we're not taking a drink in front of your friends.
Yep.
So your
Right.
friends are down at the bar now. We don't go down there no more because we're not, your friends are down there and
We're not
that's
peers.
not our groove anymore. Okay.
Right.
But I'm just sharing that with you. But, you know, we have to develop a society that understands elderhood. But we have a society that understands that's impacted by ageism. And what we do
Mm-hmm.
is we measure ourselves according to the 365-day calendar. That one of the things that Pat and I never talked about, matter of fact, we didn't really celebrate birthdays. We did sort of the latter part of our life. But you know, we didn't even talk about no age. We're just so busy, you know, doing, you know, practicing. It wasn't
Hello.
even like that, you know, because the calendar is a business calendar. 365 days, you know, we pay our bills and, we got our birth certificates and, you know, our birth dates. But the traditional cultures, Native American, Africans, Aborigines, Europeans, the calendar was when the crops, how getting ready for the winter, you know, and then getting ready to harvest the crops when it was ready to do that. It was the seasons. The seasons was the demarcation for time. The
Right.
time that we have been socialized in as Western folks in this culture is all about the market economy and consumerism. It's about making money. It's about, you know, that's what it's all about. So then we ingest that into our identity. Oh, now I'm old. And so that means, what does that mean? You know, that means that, old, what's old? Pat 96, she wasn't even old. I talked to her last, Mark, you talked to her before the latter part I did. She wasn't old. Pat was fully present, had
Exactly.
no cognitive challenges.
Right.
No, people make a little slip and say, oh, I'm getting old. I can't think about that no more. Pat never said that. She was fully present. She never talked about sort of to the end. She said, I ain't snapping back
Right.
like I used
She's
to. But that
slipping,
was
right.
like within this last year or so. Well, 96, that's understandable. But before that, fully present because she's such an avid reader. So
Hmm.
her brain elasticity was clear. Very clear. She had very
You have better memory than me.
very, very sharp cognition. No question.
Right. And I
But
think
what
that's
happens when you
also,
get old, though, you start having that, when you're ingesting that ageism, you start diminishing.
hmm
You debilitate yourself. But the market economy wants you to do that. So they can put you and take all your stuff and put you in one of them nursing homes and buy
hmm
them all that equipment. And, you want to consume what old is.
right.
But we have to do better than that. We got to do better than that as a
And
society.
also put in a clock. I've just had this realization because I turned 30 in April. It was the first time I ever had like that kind of uh put in a clock on my, because I went through a traumatic like breakup, and it almost felt like a crazy divorce, but also I was just like, oh no, but I'm supposed to be, the time, like I'm getting old. I started thinking like that, like as if time was like ticking on my body, and I started to feel it the moment, like physically, when I started to think like that, you know. But also on the same note, it's also, I have to realize too, when you age with grace, like aging with grace, accepting that I am growing into, and I can't just be doing whatever with my body. Like nobody told me when you turn 30, you actually have to consciously really think about your health and what you're doing, because certain things I do start to feel it, and it's like, I guess that's the beauty of it, but it is shocking, um in the sense of like, because I used to break my arm all the time when I was a kid, little stuff like that. I break my arm now, it takes a while to heal, but I also think about my dad in respects of, he's young hearted too, like my grandma was, and his, but very much like my papa Peter, who kind of was rejecting or in denial of becoming old, quote unquote, or elderly. And so it's almost like ironic when the things that he used to do to be young are making him old, if that makes sense, when you still continue to, I guess, accepting age at a certain point, like that, accepting the fact, like my papa, he still wanted to like work and drive, and he's like, all my clients are dead, and it's because you're 94, pops. You know, I mean, a time to sit still and be wise, and I feel like that's what grandma was good at. But I guess accepting that I'm not a young buck anymore, for one, and I am an adult, like you were telling me earlier, but also not getting to a point where the societal expectations that are saying you need to pop out a baby and be married in order to be like fully fulfilling your purpose. Like, my purpose isn't to be a mother and wife. That those aren't going to be my number one titles. I'm going to be a woman first, sister. I've been a sister, I'm a daughter, but even those aren't my purposes.
Well, you're
If
in
that
the,
makes sense,
you're a young
like
adult.
these
You're
roles.
you're a young adult and you got responsibilities at every aspect of the life cycle. We all do. And our bodies do shift. And that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about an identity. and being mindful of self-care. What do we need to do as we move through the life cycle to take care of ourselves? But not to ingest the stereotypes of this thing called old, because it's a health, it's a wellness issue, and it diminishes people psychologically and also physically. When you just say, hey, look, you do what you do at where you are in your life cycle. You do the things you need to do to take care of where you are in your life cycle. You're responsible. But, don't diminish yourself because I can't do that no more because of this. Pat, you don't do that. You just do what's fulfilling for you. Like Pat, her remarks that we shared tonight is that you don't let anything interrupt your dance. Don't interrupt your own dance.
Right.
Get in touch with your dance and dance, and do the creator's got a purpose for all of us. There's no up and there's no down on this thing. We just have to get out of this traditional white supremacy kind of thinking, fragmented, no community. And when we say white supremacy, like I tell my students, it's not talking about white people. We're talking about
Right.
a system of superiority, inferiority that has to be broken. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about building a multicultural, healthy, well society that we respect people for their differences. It's not no we, they. We all in this. And we in the eye of the storm right now in this country. We never thought we'd be in the United States like this, but we are,
Mm-hmm.
you know. But listen, it's getting late, and I know we all have things to do on the Sunday night, but we got this recorded, and I copied the chat, and so this information will be available. But we do a wellness story circle every month, where we talk about, do a story circle. We share our stories around a particular topic area or not. We might have a topic area, but you might want to share something else. But we do a story circle for 2 hours every month, and everyone's invited. It's no obligation. We just come, and like I said, the last one we did before, it was beginning of December, of the last Wednesday in November. That's when it was. We did it all about love. Bell Hooks's work, which is a great book, you all about love. I've been reading it, and this during the holiday season as a book that I'm looking at. I've read it before, but you all, it's so good. And she talks about what we're talking about tonight, getting out of this patriarchy, Western way we look at love, and start to look at love from, that real core spiritual piece. So that's what we talked about. We talked about love in our life, the challenges of love, what is love, and how's love support mental health and wellness. So that's the kind of things we do in the story circle. So it's very informal. Juanita and I did some work together, for folks who are still on here listening, and on emotional emancipation out of the Association for Black Psychologists. Juanita, you want to say a little bit about our experience with that? We did some groups there that are pretty powerful.
I would love to. Boy, that experience is one of the most positive that I've had in my years of connecting with people, and Deborah was fantastic. And I learned so much from her, and we learned so much from our
From
participants.
each
It
other.
was just it was just a beautiful experience. And so um, I'm thinking I might need to join your circle.
Oh, we'd love to have you come. I'll make sure you get the link. And you just know
Please
it's
do. I
open,
appreciate
open
that.
entry, open exit, no obligation. You come in because you want to, that kind of thing. And our,
Yes,
our, our themes for the emotional emancipation circles was defying the lie of racism. And it was sponsored by
yes,
the Association for Black Psychologists,
right,
defying the myth and lies of racism. And
right,
and boy, people just don't. The idea was to work through that trauma of racism and
exactly,
get rid of that toxicity that's in the body and the mind, and move
right.
toward healing. Yeah, and we just
So,
have
yeah, just define the lie of white supremacy and Black inferiority.
there you go. There it is. Mm-hmm. Defying that
Yes,
lie. Yeah,
exactly.
yeah. So
Powerful stuff.
it was powerful stuff, and it's still going on in most emancipation circles. Very important.
Yes,
We have to have
yes.
places and
Good
spaces to
work.
do our work so we can be healed, be open, be free. Everybody deserves to be liberated and free. And Pat
Right.
certainly fostered that in her life. You know, every person she contacted with, and we heard it tonight, she was there for them, their liberation, their freedom. Not for
Right.
everybody else, just that person. That's the kind of psychologist she was in practice and friend.
So powerful.
Right. You remember the conversation? We were at Juanita's house in Denver, you know, and we had, you know, everybody in the Association for Black Psychology in Denver, some of the leaders and, you know, core folks. We had the best conversation around
Oh my
unlearning
gosh.
the academy, unlearning remember the unlearning what you're taught
Yes,
in higher education, how to get rid of that, and so
exactly.
you can be healthy. And
Exactly.
Pat, she held court on that, right?
Oh my goodness. She, that was spectacular.
I
It really
know.
was.
Yeah, we all remember that so well. So listen, I'm
Yes.
gonna say goodnight to everyone. And Margaret, it's so wonderful to connect with you. We'll stay connected,
Yeah. Thank
you
you so
know,
much, Deborah.
and yeah, Jacqueline, you know, and Joanne and Amy, anybody that stayed on, really appreciate that. Taylor, listening to Taylor, you know you held. So take care of yourself, reach out when you need to, you know.
Thank
And
you.
you don't have to be the strong bionic woman. Ain't no such thing. Just be Taylor.
Right.
You know, if you need to
Just,
cry, you cry. Whatever you need to do. You don't have to be strong.
mm,
You just need to be
right.
you. Okay?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's okay
Absolutely.
not to be okay.
There you go. Teach.
Absolutely.
That's right. You just and
Thank
you know
you.
that. You know that. So
Hmm.
Margaret, peace and blessings. We'll be in contact.
Yes.
Juanita, we'll be in contact. All of us.
And we'll
Thank
be
you
in
so
touch with
much.
the
Deborah, real
link.
quick, could for
What?
the full video, like with our conversation that we've had at the end, when we're sharing the original, could we like for keep it just for people that were like in the participants?
Yeah, I'm gonna send it to you.
And
And
then okay, I'll
and
crop
then you
out.
know, and then anyone like Juanita asked me for a copy. Anybody ask me, I'm gonna ask permission from you.
Oh
Right.
And then you
yeah,
say yes,
absolutely.
I'll send it to Juanita then in Margaret. I'll send it out to folks who want a copy of it for sure.
There are a few people that could not come tonight, and we're wondering if they could get
Oh
the
yes, no, I of course I was saying share with everybody and anybody who asked. I was asking more specifically, if y'all don't mind, if for our debriefing our conversation, like towards the end, to have a version where we
Let me
share
I'm gonna
the
pause the recording right
outside the
now.
circle